that would be a good sign because that means that Hajizi will be able to use the Nether Realm for the Zaman Force of Kelra.
Yeah, I also like the more counter-punch approach that Twisted Minds is going for here, playing around the Nether Realm. Just continue that. They're not completely in the red. It's only 2,000 of a gold lead for Onyx Philippines at this point. They can definitely turn something around, but what hurts is they're losing that push up top. They need to send the Hayabusa to push there. So the 4 that's going to be left around the Lord bit have to do what they can to that Onyx Philippines can't rush, which they're rushing.
Okay, they're trying to rush the Lord. Brusco goes in for the delay. Kelra as well. There's the early engage for Onyx, but Brusco is going to fall down. James leading the charge for Twisted Minds.
Very early for Brusco.
Yeah, that was not what they wanted to do. He also had to burn the flicker in that. So Onyx Philippines might adjust it. Even down Brusco, it looks like they'll just go ahead and keep putting pressure. They know the purple buff's going to be up shortly too. King Kong will focus on that. So this is actually a window of opportunity that Twisted Minds could take advantage of. Oh, narrow.
Oh, they have to play this right though. They cannot bait out the Nether Realm.
King Kong knows he's there. They have the information.
Oh, they're going for it. King Kong from the back! Eliminates MP the King!
2 abyssal arrows from the Monster Mage to completely break and twist the formation of Twisted Minds to set it up for King Kong.
Did I not say Super Prince will provide the vision in that? I mean, that whole exchange came from Super Prince scouting them out, giving the information, especially to King Kong, to swoop on in and clean up the kills. And now with that, again, it's a swing in favor for Onyx Philippines. The base turrets are in trouble here for Twisted Minds.
I mean, if you can recall how Super Prince picked the Selena early in the season, it was actually his decision. His recommendation to their coach to let him play the Selena, and now he's showing why he wants to use the Selena.
My goodness, 2 arrows, and we're where we are right now. Onyx pushing into the base, Twisted Minds losing ground, losing gold. Heartbreaking for Twisted Minds, but for Onyx Philippines, that was just damn good MLPB.
Even in the base.
Yes. It sounds great, and that was a surprise for us because again, Twisted Minds had such great hold of the first few minutes of the game.
That was actually really fun to watch for me, personally, seeing the back and forth at least for, you know, it was a Faramis lineup trying very hard to uber it up as much as they could, try to withstand that onslaught, but in the end, Kelra really came out on top with that MVP. His Harith really shone and really gave the damage that Onyx needed to close out that game.
Yeah, honestly, Kelra felt like he went unnoticed for majority of the game, and until that one moment wherein they had a team fight where he was just too free to deal the damage, it felt like Kelra served as a great way for Onyx to save a lot of the unsuccessful attempts that were done by, let's say, Brusco, because we can't count out the fact that there were some fist break, fist crack combos which were either too early or which put them in a slightly dangerous position. But to consider that there is still Kelra with the Zaman Force that's readily available to at least provide the damage during those scenarios, you still can't fully commit even as Twisted Minds.
You were saying, word for word, Brigida said earlier there was so much gigil from Brusco, and I think that is correct. We did see a lot of that, and then again, that might be the reason why they pick up this Badam. They want to give him that scenario. Maybe the call from them was like, okay, Brusco, just keep throwing out those fist break, fist crack combos. We got you, win or lose. And that's what happened. It worked out very well for them in the end.
It felt like Brusco had to do those sacrificial plays willingly because it'll either way reward them in the end. So now they're able to actually redeem themselves, as we're seeing in some of these MVP highlights again, because this was, I feel, the final sequence before the game actually was ended there by Onyx Philippines. And if we are to look at it right now, it actually lasted up until nearly 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So that just goes to show how well Onyx Philippines were able to hold everything out. And this was a slightly different composition compared to what they decided to field in game number 1. It's not Kirk on the Hilda, which was the one ideally starting things out or providing the information that was necessary for Onyx Philippines to decide on whether or not they wanted to go for this or that. It was Kirk on an Edith who was more of an additional layer of damage, some sort of deny towards Twisted Minds whenever they wanted to go for the aggressive plays, but it was what Super Prince was doing all along. Like in the early stages of the game, we don't get to see all those flashy abyssal arrows connecting towards the members of Twisted Minds. It's because he had to do much more than that. He was the one serving as the vision, as the person providing all the vision here for Twisted Minds. So even with the presence of a Kalea, even with all those potential surprise setups from Escalera, by the way, we didn't get to see a lot of them. There were multiple times or instances, however, where Twisted Minds definitely they were on a roll. Mpl the King, he felt unstoppable on the Hayabusa, even trying to hunt down King Kong all by himself. But that's just Onyx Philippines really playing it safe, waiting for the right timings all over again.
And this is proof as well that, you know what, the link can really work.
Yeah.
As long as you can kind of just give it a mission.
Oh
not
my gosh.
not like the super carry link.
Not the super carry, yeah.
In this specific game, it was King Kong just absorbing the attention of Twisted Minds, going into their jungle non-stop.
He was a team player kind of link in this game. Like, I mean, that 15-minute mark highlight, if you haven't, please check it out. Bring it back to the 15-minute mark of the game wherein King Kong was just able to look for both MP and Haji, who was just trying to go home. Everyone was screaming at that point, and he's the only one we're seeing here as the rich guy amongst the other members of Twisted Minds. Because again, for majority of the game, it felt like Twisted Minds had it under control. But this guy, you barely notice it, but on the Ling, he was still able to keep that turbo farming pattern we were talking about in the Keys to Victory earlier.
Yeah, it's scary that he can keep doing that in a hero that doesn't really see a lot of attention, especially here in MPL Philippines.
Yep.
So he's able to do that in, it's not like a 5v1 King Kong wins, it's a King Kong do this specific set of tasks for us to win.
Yeah. And he did not have to worry about his other teammates because they did their jobs too really, really well. And I feel like we also have to dive a little deeper onto the other aspects of which took place in that particular game number 2, which again nearly reached the 20-minute mark and was really close. Twisted Minds nearly had it, but for the gold graph, I believe we have to do a quick recall of what happened, because earlier it was actually Twisted Minds starting the first objective, but King Kong went in for that sudden steal. But after that, Twisted Minds no longer allowed it to happen, and they were just really keen on taking control of the game, as you could actually see right here where it felt like it was just really tight, like they were just close to each other for majority of the game. But during the 7-minute to the 9-minute mark, that was when we felt how Twisted Minds was almost in full control, literally pressuring even King Kong in his very own jungle. But this is also the part wherein other members of Onyx Philippines really went unnoticed. Like, you barely got to take note that there are other members doing things on opposite sides of the map, that there was Keller just farming things up, because we had majority of our attention, especially on Outplayed, who, by the way, by the 13-minute mark, already had his complete item build, and he was the first to actually have his complete item build. But that was all the while Onyx Philippines was slowly regaining control and the lead in this entire game. And now we are gonna look at one of our key players in this game. Not necessarily part of the winning team, but I feel like it really deserves to be discussed, because Mpl the King, during the mid stages of the game, this was the moment wherein we saw in the graph Twisted Minds officially took the lead. This was the moment wherein he was doing a spectacular job on the Hayabusa. And this isn't something you'd usually see from Mpl the King, because it almost feels like every single time opposing teams find a way to limit his movements. But this was a scenario wherein he was clearly free to do what he wanted to do, even exceeding the average stats that we usually see in terms of this kind of situation. And this has been a very unfortunate outcome, especially considering if you are Twisted Minds, you have to go through a hard reset heading into the potential last few games of this series.
Especially Mpl the King, you mentioned it in this game, it wasn't like they had a bad one.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they had a horrible, or they woke up in the wrong side of the bed, or anything like that. It just so happened that they were really pincered, outmaneuvered in very specific moments by Onyx Philippines in this game. So you're right. After a game where you felt like you did everything right, you feel like I did my part perfectly. What happened? From those kind of games, these are the games where you really need that big reset.
I mean, imagine it towards the last few team fights or the last sequence, you could even think about, oh, so was Onyx Philippines holding back all along? Because just look at how Super Prince decided to position himself on the Selena. He was first to arrive at Twisted Mind's base even before the other members could actually get there and try to save themselves from the threat, from that aggression that Onyx Philippines was already doing. So it has been so close for Twisted Minds, and we're hoping to see more from them because this has been a better game for them compared to game number 1, and they're slowly getting there.
I mean, if you want to get that reverse sweep going, it's a big climb. It's a big hill. But if any team can do it, maybe it might be Twisted Minds, right? So I want to see that reset. I want to see that explosiveness. I want to see that creativity coming in from Twisted, because if it doesn't appear, it feels, from the vibe of it, it feels like Onyx can get away with this pretty easily. So we'll find out what happens in game number 3. But for the meantime, let's throw it over to our host for the All Access segment right here in the Champions Arena.
Maraming salamat sa ating mga casters. As of that moment, together with the panel as well, nakita natin kanina yung 2-0 ng Onyx Philippines, and they're gonna be looking forward to that sweep. But of course, Twisted Minds, they're looking for a reverse sweep that, hopefully could put them to the next round. But before the matches, Jamie, of course, we have some special guests here with us today.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hello, hello.
Why don't you introduce yourselves to everybody here, starting off with a beautiful lady next to me.
Hello, I'm Kitskua. You probably have seen me on TikTok na nagta-transform into anime characters and game characters. Yeah,
So
Kitskua.
cosplay, I love what you said. You transform into these characters. I'm gonna ask you if you've ever transformed into an MLBB hero, but before that, we also have this dashing man next to Kitskua. All right, diba?
Hello.
Hello,
So
hello.
I am Haduch of The Pebbles. Kung hindi mo alam ang The Pebbles, you should probably watch The Pebbles. Nakakatawa kami, promise. Panoorin mo na kami. Sa TikTok.
promise, ha?
Sa TikTok.
Promise.
Promise.
The
Trust me.
Pebbles. Okay, the Pebbles, ladies and gentlemen. Ba't napadaan kayo dito, Hadoch? Anong sadya, sa Champions Arena?
Yes. So I was invited with kids who are here, and ang saya ng ambience, sobrang lupit ng venue. And yung sa baba, daming happening sa baba. And super solid ng fans over here.
MPL Playgrounds,
Yup,
sa
yup.
baba. Pag-uusapan natin yan, no? Pero before that, is it your first time here at the MPL? Well, actually, at the Champions Arena. Is it your first time to watch live?
Yes. It's actually my first time, and I'm enjoying right now.
I like it. I'm happy that you're actually, nakita mo kanina, napanood mo yung Game 1, Game 2. You did tell me
Yes,
about
yes.
it. And that was pretty cool considering that you're watching all of the things that are happening right now. Kits, gusto ko ring malaman more about, the characters. You said you've been covering gaming characters, video game characters. Was there an MLBB hero that you actually covered already?
Yeah, I did. Actually, sa TikTok, yung pinakauna kong viral video was my low cosplay ni Laila.
Oh, gusto ko makita. Mamaya pakita mo na lang
Yeah.
sa akin.
For sure. Transform. I like it. Are there other mo? Actually, lately, meron kasi kami nung Naruto collaboration. Right? And I know for a fact that you are a Naruto fan. So, are there some other, characters and anime characters from Naruto that we can look forward to in the future that you'll cosplay?
In the future.
Yeah.
Yes, what do you want to do next?
So, since nakita ko yung collab ng Naruto at ML, kinosplay ko na si Naruto, yung guy version, tsaka yung girl version niya, pati si Sakura.
So, tapos na yun?
Tapos
Okay.
na yun. So, gusto ko naman itry si Sasuke. Tsaka si Kakashi.
Bubuoy
Ewan
niya yung
ko
Team
kung
7.
babagay kasi hello, bilog na bilog yung face ko eh. So, yun.
Di naman.
Hindi
Grabe ka naman.
Bubuoy namin yung Team 7. I like it.
Aabangan namin yan. Oo. So where can they catch that, by the way, kids? Where can they follow you and see how you transform?
You can follow me at KidsKua on Facebook, TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, saan pa ba? Twitter,
On
lahat
SoftNet.
na.
Oo, lahat na. Kids Kua is the name to remember. What about you? Do you cosplay as well?
I don't plan, but I don't mind cosplaying.
Yeah, why don't you guys do a collab as
Yeah, you
well?
should do that.
Oo nga,
Oo,
Team
diba?
7, no? Team
Actually,
7.
oo.
Gusto na lahat, the pebbles. We want to see that.
That would be nice. That would be nice. In the future, abangan nyo guys.
You know what? With that being said, where can we follow you, Haduch?
You can follow us on Twitter, sa lahat ng social media. You name it, handong kami. Even illegal. Wag na.
Yeah, basta yun na yun. Yun na yun.
We good, okay?
Alright,
At ano bang mga dapat abangan ng mga MPL fans whenever they visit your page?
Funny skits, yun na lang. If you're stressed out with your life, check nyo lang The Pebbles, papasahin namin kayo.
Nako, maraming stressed sa buhay nila as
Lalo
of
na
this
ngayon
moment.
kasi intense yung games.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to
Right?
break and you want to have fun,
Saktong-sakto.
watch the pebbles.
Habang break, they
Oo.
can go ahead and visit the pages
Yeah.
of kids.
Yep.
And of course, Haduch and the Pebbles, maraming salamat. It's so nice to have you guys here today. But now, we toss it back to our panel. Kamusta kayo dyan?
We are doing great. Honestly, we're still recovering from that last one. Especially if you guys really don't see this, but while cameras are turned off, she just jumps around a lot.
Oh my goodness.
She's really engrossed in the game, so
I was kicking the air.
she's kicking.
Because there were so many unbelievable plays which took place in that game. Some super unexpected turnarounds.
Crazy stuff, honestly.
Honestly, it was. If you're probably part of the mines, you're really devastated by now. But we have a lot of guests, by the way, here at the Champions Arena. It's really nice to see that we have so much guests, even in as early as day number 1.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And the Pebbles, they're really funny. That guy he's telling the truth. So check him out on TikTok. And here is Super Prince Playoffs KDA so far. Looks like he is having a pretty solid time, I'd say. First in all time, honestly. In the playoffs, he is ranking 2nd so far overall. And in Mpl Philippines, he is ranking 7th in Season 15.
Yeah. Earlier when we were with Dilar, we were talking to him all the while the player entrance was ongoing, the walk-ins were ongoing, and he was just very vocal about how much he looked up to Super Friends.
Yeah.
Like if there's one player he really looks up to in Onyx Philippines, he said it. Like, it's really Super Friends. He just looks up to this guy so much because he plays so well. He's just such a standout in terms of the entire lineup.
And on the other side of the coin, we got Haji, who seemed to be, again, when the season started,
Yeah.
he's Hajizi, rather, not Haji. He changed his name. And at the beginning of the season, he said, you know what, I'm hoping to change my name because I'm trying to get that KDA machine back. Because when he was named Hajizi, that was the time he was like the leader of the KDA.
Yeah.
And so far, it has been a bit of, again, very difficult. The competition feels so strong right now that it's proving to be very difficult for him to actually get to that point. And then again, I guess KDA doesn't really matter as much as long as you get that W.
That's true. And I mean, like, Haji, despite all that, he's been one of the players still to be really dependable. He's just so versatile, and you can like expect him to be one of those mid laners to really bring out the unusual picks, the unorthodox picks. So much like, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but for some of the international viewers out there, similar to what you typically see from Team Flash, maybe like that's probably the extreme version of it, right? But Haji's just that kind of player. He's just really flexible. He knows how to play multiple roles, and history shows just how much he's been through. So it's really now that we're looking to see that mindset, that experience come into play together with Twisted Minds.
And I really hope they manage to use it here because we are on to the draft. Game number 3. This is match point. This is a series point here for Onyx Philippines. One more. and they will be joining us tomorrow. And now, of course, joining us is going to be Renmar Santa Cruz, all the way from the land down under, under our stage.
Hi, so I actually have a problem with a questionable purchase with my credit. Wait, is this BPI customer service? Oh, it's not?
Oh my god!
Oh, wait, that's Rock Hard and Bring It. Oh, it's the draft.
That's us,
Sorry,
that's
I thought they passed me through to customer service. But
Oh
hey,
no,
what's up,
now
guys?
we know about it.
Now we know he has credit card thing.
It's fine. Customer service with BPI is fantastic. They usually solve all my problems.
Here, there's number 1. Oh my goodness, it's the exact or almost the exact same draft, except the Kalea right now won't be a first pick for Twisted Minds.
Wow, that's them going, we're not going to play the Kalea. We won't let you have it. We'll pick up the signature pick of King Kong instead. I mean, he still has the Joy Suyo trade active. Hayabusa still available for him. He already showed that he can still play the Ling really well.
Yeah.
There's so many options still available for King Kong.
Is it still gonna be the Badang though? Like, they've been very consistent in terms of picking it up. I mean, it's really a flex pick. So,
Yep.
oh wait.
Wait a second.
Wait a second.
There it is.
Why did
That's
this show up just now?
Low Yi, right? I'm trying to rack my brain. This was banned out maybe once earlier, but otherwise I feel like it was open.
I believe it was I'm gonna have to double check. I think it was actually banned both games.
Oh, was it banned both games? There we go.
Maybe it's the one in Kalea's slot.
Yeah, it was banned both games, and now with the Kalea ban, it opened up the low E for Super Friends. So Twisted Minds decided to do this.
This is very specific, and I actually feel like they are gonna keep picking the Badang all playoffs long.
Yeah. Do they pick up the Granger here? I mean, I know for a fact that the Granger no longer gets to reveal the opponents, you know, but like that might be of help to them since they might want to get the range, but they decide to opt for the Moskov and the Phobius.
Yeah, it has to be the Moskov in this regard. You have the Joy with you. It'll be difficult to play up against the Moskov. Just to be safe, pick up the Moskov with you to pair it up with the Joy.
I really liked it because this is a bit of a... This Twisted Minds basically going back to DNA. This is a lineup that, all right, I don't think we're doing the pickoffs properly right now. Let's go ahead and lock in these heroes that will work very well when they play together. And yeah, they're staying with what they know. Nothing too crazy from Twisted, which is a bit of a letdown for me personally. But if this is what it takes for them, and this is what they think will work, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like they've been really working on mastering the way they pull this entire lineup off, or this entire strategy off, but this is so cool, wait!
Wow.
That's one of the biggest banners we've seen in MPL.
Heck yeah.
Oh my goodness!
That was cool.
Thank you so much to our drone for capturing that angle.
I think that was actually the baby blanket I was born in.
Oh my god. Come on, Red. Not like that. That would be a cool blanket though. I would love to have that at home.
Oh wait, a 1-1 ban?
Okay, so gold lane is going to be the focus here. Twisted trying to get that gold lane leverage. Gold lane picks might also include the Bruno in this sense.
Yeah, the Kimmy's still there.
Kimmy's still there, yeah.
Although we did see how a Joy answers back to a Kimmy every now and then. So, in terms of the gold lane,
Still so many options available, honestly. They might actually go down the Magic route for their gold laner. With the Harith gone, Kimmy is available. That might be the pick to go for. Because if they don't go for the magic damage dealing gold laner, they're just going to be overloaded with physical, and it's going to be the low Yi as their main source of magic. Unless, of course, they shift things up. And they pick up an EXP laner that also deals magic, but that's really just what? Esmeralda and Edith in the options available. Glue isn't really damage dealing when we think about him. He's there, he provides some magic damage, but he's not a magic damage dealer.
There are some builds of Glue that kind of go for Glowing Wand right away, but also you don't want that if you are on it because you need that tankiness. But that's going to be a bit busy, you know, setting up. So.
Yeah, and that's been a trend so far for like all Philippines and their frontliners. But they pick up a Clint. Interesting pickup so far. Not too surprising for Kelray, no, but like at least for day number 1 of the playoffs.
I like Guinevere. It's a very Escalar's been trying to make this work all season long.
Yes.
Honestly. And it has had its moments.
Yeah.
But what about this refusal of Onyx to go with a Kimi Renmar? What's their last pick?
I mean, they've overloaded it with so much physical, they don't need to pick up another magic damage dealer. We know the damage profile of a Clint into the mid to the late game. They have the high boost up at the Badang there. They don't necessarily need to go magic. They still might go for the Edith though. But at this point, you need the strong frontliner. Oh, and that's another one that deals good magic damage. You go for the Gacha up against the Farsa. So they still go down that route. Good balance. I like the Clint pick. However, Twisted Minds has a great answer with the Farsa. It's going to be a lot for Kelra to deal with in team fights, though.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest influences too as to why they opted for a Gacha. So
Yeah.
there's some sort of threat for the Farsa and for it to not be as free in terms of just throwing out the feathered airstrikes, because that's going to be a problem definitely for Twisted Mind later on if ever they're unable to do that with Haji on this Farsa.
That's right. So overall, if this is the biggest surprise that Twisted can do, by the way, just a reminder, this is do or die for Twisted right now. They lose this match, Onyx is the one going tomorrow. And we will see if there is going to be some fight in this Twisted Minds lineup. Let's throw it over to our casters to give us, or take us into the game.
And we'll take you right into the game. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 3 upon us. It's match point right now for Onyx Philippines. Can Twisted Minds hold on to the chances of moving on? They need a win here desperately to stay in the series. Once again, it's me, Naisu, Ingon, and Renmar to bring you the action in this game as mid lane is already seeing some early poking happening here. What do we think of the lineups that are presented by both teams for us, Ingon?
For now, I mean, the Clint in the picture for sure will be able to dominate the early stages of the laning phase, so they're going to have to watch out for that, and for Twisted Minds to be able to hold on long enough for MP the King and Hajisi to eventually scale up.
Twisted Minds, you see outplayed, struggling in lane against Keller, who decided to play very aggressively. Brusco supplementing King Kong's invades, making rotation for Escalera a little bit difficult. Onyx isn't giving an easy time here for Twisted Minds. They know they have Twisted with their backs up against the corner, and they really just want to end this series right here. If you give Twisted some wind, then Onyx wouldn't want that.
You know, Renmar, I gotta ask you, because I feel like you're the one that usually gets excited when the Clint gets picked up. You know, I feel like I haven't heard enough yeehaws. And yeehaw. Thank you. That's what I was waiting for earlier. But, you know, why the Clint? Why does Kelra go ahead and lock this in? How is this gonna give him an advantage? Is it in the lane, or is it just kind of as the game progresses here in the way that they've been playing throughout the series?
I think this is something that we see from teams in Mpl Philippines for the first in the play-in round of the playoffs. You want to see them try stretch the capabilities of the meta. So Onyx Philippines, I feel like this is one of those picks where let's see how the Clint will work. This is Keller going in here thinking, okay, I can use him to dominate up against the Moskov in lane. When it comes a little bit later in the fights, yeah, he'll have a lot to deal with. They pick this Clint knowing that the Farsa is still open, but they have full faith that the presence of the Gacha will be enough to take the Farsa out right away, so that Keller will just be left untouched. Because Onyx Philippines have a very strong dive forward lineup, which means that the Clint could be untouchable.
Early pokes on Escalera, forced out the flicker already, plus spatial migration. Meanwhile, James on the chase onto King Kong, but King Kong still secures the turtle, plus a combo onto Brusco. Kirk trying to catch MP the King, diversion play. They're gonna go to the purple buff of Twisted Minds. Oh, James!
Whoa!
Okay, up against 3, was able to take down 1. Paired up with the revitalizing, he's able to go for more against Kirk and Brusco out of nowhere.
What happened to... What did James just do?
Well, he took, like, I assume what is a 380-pound muscled man and just jumped on that ninja.
It's that simple.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, this is what Phoveus is built for. Even early on in the game, especially when the other team doesn't have a lot of items, you can bully 2v1, 3v1 as the Phoveus. There's almost always going to be a trade if you're not careful.
Yeah, I'd be pretty scared of a guy that's What is he? He's got what? I don't even know what the weapon is. It's like a.
It's literally, I think, a piece
Is it
of a tower.
Like an obelisk or something?
Yeah, an obelisk.
Is that how you say obelisk?
Yes.
Obelisk. I'm playing the wrong game here. Man.
Monolith. It's a big
Is it
rock.
not obliques?
It's not that.
Is
That's
that
a muscle
different?
group.
That's a muscle
Oh,
group.
I'm sorry.
He's
But
pretty
we still,
muscly though.
yeah, he does have hella obliques though.
he does.
I'm pretty sure Ingan is already imagining a cosplay of Naisu as Phoveus.
Ah.
In all of his shirtless glory.
Let's not exposing on here. You know? At least keep it together on day one. So they find themselves at pretty much a standstill for now. They're going to go ahead and take their time. Again, we're still 30 seconds away from the next turtle coming up, and it was Onyx Philippines that got the last one. So now we'll see how they rotate based off this early game. Again, outplayed, has to just farm up. He's going to be able to go ahead and put pressure on later on. So really it's just up to how they rotate against each other here. Turtles coming up. James is exactly where he needs to be. And so we'll see. Again, how often have we seen teams before ban out the Luoyi against Super Friends?
Yeah, it's really cool because now you're seeing Twisted Minds. They want to spend a lot of time together and they're checking shrubs while doing it. While Onyx Philippines went from a 2-3 split into a 4-1, into a 1-3-1, all in one go, just to find an opening across the map in different parts of the map as well. So Onyx Philippines, again, this is just them showing off their flexible rotation style very well, checking things, which leads them to this. Now they have info where the turtle is. Twisted Minds, yes, they've gotten here first, but Onyx Philippines know that, okay, we need to allow Twisted Minds to go first because they need King Kong to get in his buff. Now that he'll be in a better set, this still could go good for Twisted Minds if, and only if, Outplayed hits that Spear of Destruction.
Yeah, and not to mention Escalera also with his combo. And he needs to set his eyes onto King Kong and even force out the Purify of Super Friends because so far Onyx has been controlling. There's a migration. This is the combo we're waiting for. King Kong obliterated by Twisted Minds. Brusco is the next target and a double kill for Escalera.
Damn good read for the Magician. 2 kills, he got the pick to start things off, and everything that Onyx Philippines did to dance and jockey for position, taken away in an instant by Escalera.
As soon as Ingan said it, it happened.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Escalera needed to do. The fact that he got the 2 kills off of that are going to help him go ahead and scale up a little bit nicer. Here on this Guinevere, you can already see some of the items coming into play. The first items are locked in, and that's going to be crucial. And for Onyx Philippines, you know, the farming has been happening in the gold lane. You already got the endless battle there for Calro, but even on the other side, Crosso Scythe working still on the next for Outplayed. And so gold laners are just going to do their things, man. But I feel like Onyx, when it comes down to the 4v4 without the gold laners, they have to be so crucial on avoiding whatever Escalera decides to go for. And then on top of that, it's like, how do we even get through James? The front line for them, because there's just so much burst potential magic-wise between MP and Hajizi.
Yeah, and not to mention if Brusco misses with his combo, or even Kirk with the AOG, it's going to be hard for Onyx to continue out the battle, especially if it's a long draw fight. But even if, for some reason, even if it reaches the late game, despite the Twisted Minds having outplayed, again, they can utilize, Onyx can utilize the fact that they have a Luoyi and Hayabusa and just play around the macro once again.
Look at the reach on that cowboy.
He's got the gun now.
He's got a beloved gun too, so...
Got my gun.
It's gonna be even harder.
It's gonna be even harder. I got the range now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So at some point, Twisted Minds really needs to start helping Outplayed, man.
Okay.
All right, we'll see if they're able to do that. They're getting in position, though, for this next objective to come up. 20 seconds away from it. They're going to do a little swap-a-rooney down, too. Kelra goes down to push down the bottom lane to set things up. So this is it. This is, you get the objective here. We'll see if they can take the turtle from Twisted Minds, but so far, I will say, Twisted Minds has been playing around their composition really well. And leaves Onyx Philippines kind of guessing here. James has been the guy to give them that vision as well. So Turtle's up, but I don't know, they're just going to blitz this, man. They have all the damage they need. They know Outplayed's up top. We'll see if they fight for it.
They might go for it. Okay, Escalera trying to work on Kirk. Gonna be a Retribution battle. MP the King secures it. AOG is gonna connect with Brusco as the first man down. And a counterplay though, James got caught there as Onyx forcing Twisted Minds to retreat, but MP the King gets the turtle.
Yeah, if the timing of the Unbreakable by the Gata Kacha was just a second later, then he would have caught MP the King. also, but no, he couldn't.
Oh, good combo there. SOD is also going to connect. Meanwhile, Mpl with an electrifying bait, immediately obliterated 3. Twisted Minds turning things to their favor.
Oh no, King Kong.
Could be next.
Oh, feathered airstrike up against King Kong. Outplayed his Indo picture and delivers the final spear that pierces through King Kong. Brusco catches Mpl the King. Good combo there, but Mpl the King slithers away.
A miserable time for the Super Fam. The Spear of Mystery by Outplayed. Perfect. A 2-man stun after he entered with the SOD. Able to catch Super Prince, and I believe that was Keller as well. Twisted. They have turned it up in an instant after, again, a surprise initiation by Escalera. So far, it's been him leading the charge and setting up the potential game-winning MVP place.
Yeah, again, this is what you just talked about.
Boom.
Great usage of the Spirit of Misery, too, as Outplayed shows up, and then they're just gone in an instant. I'm actually so surprised how that played a part, too, and then King Kong, of course, has to deal with it as well, so that's a massive swing now for Outplayed in general. But, you know, like you mentioned, Escalera doing so great. And it's not often that you see the Guinevere, you know, come up to play. And this has been the story of Twisted Minds all throughout the regular season. The draft is what people wanted to see. And yeah, maybe they didn't have all the points that they wanted to. Sometimes they fell short. But they were the team that was always trying to really twist the draft, trying to go ahead and push the limits of whatever meta we were currently in, because we've had quite a bit of changes throughout this season just alone. And you throw in a Guinevere there, who we've seen pop up before. Oh, Brusco.
Brusco catches one, immediately bursts down, outplayed. Escalera caught in the crossfire there, has to flicker out as James with a dark wave to delay the attack of Onyx, but Brusco again with a fist break, trying to work on Escalera, but a major kill for Onyx Philippines.
What a read by Brusco and Onyx to find another diversion just to get here to the Lord in a better position, stopping Twisted Minds and their chances of potentially contesting this healthily.
Okay, a 5v2. Escalera still not in the picture. Hajizi already used up the feathered airstrike. King Kong quite low. Good, the dark wave there from James goes in with the infinite pursuit, dealing a lot of damage, but he's gonna fall down. Mpl the King manages to get one, but the trade after trade for both of these teams. 2 will fall. Brusco only for Onyx Philippines.
Hey, they stopped the Lord, though. Onyx Philippines not able to just secure it just yet. They might start it back up. They have to go kind of reset.
Yeah.
Get Kirk back into the fight. He had to use a Revitalize earlier on. So Escalera and Hajizi, they're keeping tabs here.
Divo.
Super Friend's going to go ahead and join alongside Kirk, so they might push it here.
Feathered airstrike. Escalera jumps in, but gets potted out by Onyx and bursted down by Keller as King Kong picks up the Lord.
Twisted Minds, they did their absolute best, but Brusco, 2 big plays in that long sequence. Number 1, of course, the initial catch onto Outplayed as they were going to the Lord. Now, once you're in the Lord and Onyx Philippines started it up, it looked like Twisted Minds and Mpl the King could take it away. But the moment Mpl the King saw blood, he saw so many members slow, Brusco got his fist break just in time. Fist wind as well, although it should be called fist bump. Come on, it's a big fist bump. So he was able to finish out the combo just in time to make sure Mpl the King gets interrupted.
Okay.
Oh, timing again. Conceal's going to be used. Brusco leading the charge alongside Kirk. They want these shields down. Tier 2 is still up in the mid, and the top finally goes down here too. That might be all they get with this Lord, is that Holy Shield. The Holy Defense is going to be popped now on the bottom lane. So Onyx Philippines, being down a few thousand gold, earlier on, have now just turned the tides with the recent interaction. And Brusco, man, he's been doing this all series. You know, he's been the Badang.
3
He's been
Badang
doing
games.
this. It's just like, I don't want to say it's an easy job for him, because sometimes we've seen him get caught out.
Yeah.
But it's literally what Renmar said earlier. Just throw bodies. Like, that's what Badang does, and maybe that's why he's so buff. But, like, you just throw the bodies at them, and you're probably going to force a reaction or something else from Twisted Minds.
Yeah, that's why he's been so good. Every time that the wall comes up, even if you take out one, you only catch 1% out of the wall. That's either already a -1 or one dude that you're forcing to flicker, to use a dash. All very important resources in the pro scene. And Brusco's been fantastic so far in the recent sequences. Diversion. Okay, it's not going to lead into anything too crazy. And equally, on the other side, of course, Twisted Minds, it got to this position because Escalera's been great on this Guinevere. So it's like a roamer battle to see who could have the better set.
Okay, gonna fight for the purple buff, but Mpl the King goes in, forced to use the retribution, but now Escalera trying to work on Kirk. A good dark way there from James, forced out the flicker. AOG! And Brusco connects as well. The ultimate fighter for the side of Twisted Minds will fall down.
What a jump.
Man, Gatot and Badang together. What a read by Kirk, the patience. It was like, wait, have they used everything? Yeah, Kirk, go ahead, just jump in, man. And then Brusco was like, let me add him in a little bit more. I also have something with me back available right away. MP, no way, no way, no way, no way!
So they also connect, outplayed for Tesla! Pops his Wind of Nature, he's working on Brusco against 3. King Kong is in the picture this time. Hajizi, he doesn't know where King Kong is, but they do have minions and the numbers. And now Twisted Minds twist it to their favor.
MP?
MP outplayed. My God! Earlier was the whole Gatot, Badang, all right, let's bruise him up. And then the Joy and the Moskov suddenly makes magic together as well. Fantastic back and forth by these two.
Oh, goodness, and that's going to get them the objective, too. What did you call the Moskov earlier on? What was he?
A spear-wielding hottie.
That was spear-wielding hottie.
I was hoping you'd forget that.
Well, we didn't. And now they remember if they missed it earlier.
Oh, man.
Wielding hot. Again, we're about to approach the 15-minute mark. What do we call that again, Renmar, after the 15-minute mark?
Gotta go to the bathroom.
Hey, at this point, he's got his Malefic gun now, too. So
Yeah.
Outplayed is locked in. He's got some extra range to work with. He's ready for the contest against Kelra here, because Kelra had that earlier on. He's still working. What is he going to go? BOD?
Yeah, it's all about who has a longer reach.
Longer reach and more damage.
That's what it's all about. It's about the long-range pokes. I want to hurt you, but from afar.
From afar.
From afar.
It's like sending your most hated establishment a very strongly worded letter.
Yeah. Or a bad review.
I was going to say reviews. Like now, I mean, we are in 2025.
Yeah.
You want to send a letter, go ahead. But I don't know if they're going to get that. Now, the base siege. Twisted Minds. We'll see if they don't press it in. Kirk's in
Finds
trouble.
Kirk, but he decides to walk away as Onyx Philippines will take care of this Lord.
All right. Twisted Minds doing what they can to force reactions out of Onyx Philippines, especially with a feathered airstrike and, of course, Escalade going.
Oh.
Ingan, chill, man.
Chill, Ingan. I mean, you can take a drink of water.
How can I chill if King Kong does something like that? Almost, though.
You're mid-drink and, like...
Didn't cast a Wiki Shadow because he saw that there are a lot of members for the side of Twisted.
Yeah. All right. That would have been cool. Let's see if we can get another chance at that. Maybe they were just like they were stretching out the muscles to see if they were going to pull off that play, try to get the shadow and whatnot. Let's see.
All right. Well, back to it. Twisted Minds has gotten themselves the lead that they need. They should be able to go just in this next low that comes up in about a minute or so. Kind of take control of the area. You saw the Divine Glaive picked up by Hajizi now. He's been really good with the feathered airstrikes and just surviving too. And that's always one of the advantages of having that Farsa there. You can see as this game continues on though, the kind of swing back and forth, it relies so much for Onyx Philippines to just choose their fights correctly. Yeah. We saw how much they had to go ahead and throw at Twisted Minds. And then eventually it's like, okay, we could possibly surprise them with a diversion.
Yeah.
We could go ahead and utilize the Gatakacha's jump with the Avatar of the Guardian, but even Brusco. So if they run down that checklist and they run out of options there, I think that's where Twisted Minds really kind of shines. And they are able to go ahead and be quite bursty in the magic department. But then you kind of throw in the focusing mark emblem there too, and that helps with some of the bursts that we're seeing and why I feel like Onyx Philippines is left in check in some of these fights. Because if they get even a couple shots down with a feathered airstrike, we know how aggressive Hajizi is with a Farsa. That's a lot of times where they're just kind of left there being like, all right, we probably don't want to take this fight. So they don't take that diversion. They're going to conceal. Lord has started up on a Twisted Mind, so they get in position. Brusco's going to jump in.
Okay, who's going to initiate first? Escalera has to conceal, but gets spotted out by Kirk. Now, they commit everything onto Kirk, but he has to revitalize, so Onyx was able to free hit, though, and they were able to take down Kirk.
All right, Twisted Mind still has to be very careful, though. They're up against a Hayabusa. They know that there's a chance that King Kong can steal this away. Already zoned out. Hajizi, great use of the feathered airstrike, plus the flicker. A bit early, but it's forced rotations out of Onyx Philippines, and Super Prince is low.
Good zone. Good zone there from James as Twisted Minds will get the Lord. Onyx concedes.
Yeah, they had to. I mean, they might have taken a risk, but then again, it's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't. You know, yes, King Kong might have been able to go ahead and swoop on in there and try to get that retry off, but it's better that they don't. Some key items are being picked up on here on both sides. How does this look on the defense side for Onyx Philippines, Renmar?
Oh, they do have the Loyi and the Clint with them, so as long as they watch their positioning, Twisted Minds will be receiving a lot of damage. But maybe it's like what we said in game number 1. Twisted Minds can just try and throw bodies here. The difficult thing about doing that as this lineup is that you're up against a Badang, wherein if you're not careful, you get caught by the Badang, you're going to get caught by the Gatakacha in turn, which means that the Loyi and the Clint are both going to be set up to be able to do damage. And you saw just how much damage Escalera took from a few hits from Kellera.
Oh, this is big. Escalera can just go ahead and force this even with a flicker if he wants to. So the Lord charges in. Top turret of Onyx Philippines is going to be taken out. Mid, the next focus. They got to clear out this Lord here. They're in a tight position. Oh!
Brusco front back. They tried to make a play there, paired up with the AOG, but still they were able to work on the Lord and just lost one inhibitor turret.
That might have been enough to put enough pressure to go ahead and stop more damage to the base here.
Yeah, and I think Twisted Minds can actually continue this. They can keep up the offense.
Oh, no.
Diversion, they're going to be sending Kirk.
Is it not Kirk? Good taunt onto MP the King as MP the King work. Oh, Escalera! Immortality popped and Brusco is the first man down. Outplay just dishing out the damage. Kirk trying to soak up the damage. Keller's gonna pick up a kill onto Escalera. A roamer for a roamer. James left behind. He still has his immortality though. As King Kong went for it. Oh! Got dodged out by James.
Still alive. He gets away just in time. And here comes the evac helicopter.
And he held on to the immortality too.
Yeah, he didn't lose it.
Didn't lose it. Got so close there. So, given all that happened, Onyx Philippines still holds on to the one turret in the bottom lane. So, with Twisted Minds, the tools that they had, you know, they can't just kind of blindlessly go for that base push from Onyx Philippines. They have to need to watch out for those off angles. And that's what we saw Onyx Philippines try to utilize there on the base defense. So they find themselves once again at this point. Lord is coming up in 10. How do they play around this? Everyone's going to be up, but some crucial battle spells are also not available for this. So they'll kind of delay things most likely, because even on the other side, Twisted Minds doesn't have, what, 3 flickers available just yet. So it is a beefed up Lord as well. Now that we're past the 20-minute mark, so Outplayed will start it up. And Onyx Philippines gets the information. Keep an eye. There's diversion.
A conservative diversion. I thought that Onyx Philippines would try to go for something incredibly aggressive, but they wanted to play it safe. They'd rather get the key figures in position first. Keller has to backtrack and clear the minion wave in mid. Finally has showed himself. I don't think King Kong showed up in the map of Twisted Minds just yet. Now already seen by James. Okay, they know where King Kong is. General idea. So now they're both just jockeying for position, trying to get a better one.
Look at
While Escalera, exactly, might pull off the play of the series so far. If he can get a massive conceal, knock up full Violet Requiem in, and save Twisted Minds' hope of chasing the Immortal Cup.
Immortal Cup at stake here. Escalera waiting patiently on this side of the map.
Can he make some magic?
He can. Hey. Brusco's going to go up there, though.
They know.
They know. Escalera, is he still going to try to make a move?
Force them back.
Oh, he's just spotted out, so they disengage from it and still. Oh, King Kong was even a half health. This might be a sign or a moment for them to go.
There's a diversion also. They're trying to send out Kellera. King Kong in the lower brush there. MP the King already used up the electrifying beats.
Look at the top minion wave. Someone has to clear that on the side of Onyx.
Oh, they know. They got to send Super Friends up there.
You know.
Wave pushing in. Oh!
Okay, Kirk used AOG defensively, but the minions though!
The minions has spawned.
Okay, King Kong, we try to get able to win their crown. Play there from MP the King as Twisted Minds works on the Lord, and they will successfully secure the Lord. Escalera picks up King Kong, popped his immortality. MP the King working on the back, and they were able to burst down the 2 junglers. Killer dishing out the damage onto James. He still has his immortality, but another pickoff, another setup from Escalera.
Magic made indeed. They needed a moment. They needed something. They needed hope, and it came in the form of Escalera. Both junglers down, though. Twisted Minds, can they end it here to force this series to go on? Can their chase for the Immortal Cup in the Champions Arena live on?
Gonna have to do it. GZ going up on the top side. Brusco, and now the force to fight.
Okay, good cancel. But the feathered airstrike, Brusco already used up his ultimate though. Keller being able to do it damage Escalera here. Brusco again trying to soak up the damage as James goes in. Kirk being able to dish out damage onto the Lord. Inhibitor turret down bottom has now been exposed, and Onyx will be able to clear out the Lord.
That was a great defense. They had to juggle that around properly. And yes, both junglers being gone, Onyx Philippines holds on. All base turrets down though. A little bit of damage to the base, but ultimately still in this game, almost at the 24-minute mark.
A question that might haunt Twisted Minds though. Did they play that too safe? I understand why they were playing it safely. Them getting wiped out at that moment meant that Onyx can just rush it straight into the base, and it's gonna be what? MP the King, most likely the only one left to try and defend it. But could they maybe have just stayed a little bit longer to try? It seems like they were trying to count King Kong's respawn there, who was very close because they knew him coming in with a shadow kill. But my mind cannot stop lingering on the thought of what if, right?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
And that might be the question.
Yeah, they need to start throwing bodies like what Onyx has been doing. And now, 24-minute mark, Renmar, this is your HLG.
Yeah, another hella long game.
Yeah.
Hella long game.
This is a hella long series. It was like almost 16 minutes in game 1, 19 minutes in game 2, and we're getting close to 25 minutes in game number 3. And it's a best-of-5 series.
That's great. I hope we get to witness another game here too with Twisted Minds. The way that they've been playing this, they should have total control of this next Lord even. You can already see the positioning happening here.
Yeah.
King Kong will go ahead and scout some about. I think we have to see Onyx Philippines pull some of their own magic, you know, utilize Super Prince especially for this. But it just seems so difficult to get an advantage in terms of positioning around these objectives for them.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing MP the King pull off some magic as well. It was him who was able to stop King Kong twice in that long Lord dance, the last one that we saw, and him able to use the Winter Crown at the right moment so that King Kong's shadow kills effect would be minimized, forcing King Kong to shadow out. So MP the King is showing up some magic here, outplayed the rest of Twisted Minds. So it's just like, who can be more magical at the right moment, the right time, the right trade? It's so crucial now. 25 minutes in, getting closer to 26. And Onyx are trying to open up the map. They're trying to apply pressure. They're sending a 3-man hit squad of the Lo Yi, the Clint, and the Badang. The two fastest damage-dealing heroes you have, but it was spotted out by Twisted Minds with the Sentry.
Yep, so they're just going to go ahead and pop the diversion. They already know, you know, the plan was foiled. We got to go back from this. And so it's ultimately just grab your buffs while you can, and maybe we'll meet at the Lord here as they go ahead and get ready. 26 minutes in. Gold lead, it pretty much doesn't matter at this point. What really matters is how it's executed with the tools they have. And realistically, it just seems like Onyx Philippines has had some trouble getting to these targets. You know, the immortalities, they really haven't been able to even pop some of them in some of the exchanges that they had because there's just so much mobility you could see from Twisted Minds too. So once again, kind of just staring off here for this Lord. It's going to be quite a bit of work to actually take this one down already. And the waves, you know, you see the mid lane, it's going to be met with that wave, that fresh wave pushing in. They still have to clear it though, and they can always rely on Super Prince, and that's why you have them staying so close to Super Prince so that he can just kind of send in who he needs with that diversion.
Oh, Twisted Minds.
Diversion, where's it going?
Okay, they're going to wait for the diversion though. Onyx was able to clear out the minions down bottom, so they have enough time to actually make a play here. Still, they don't know where they are. Diversion is there. They're going to send him back.
Unchecked.
Oh, MP's there though. He sees them.
Okay, Brusco already committed.
Oh, my goodness.
And Keller got eliminated immediately. Twisted Minds was ready for the attack of Onyx.
Blasted Onyx Philippines. The gambit, it didn't work with King Kong. King Kong found MP the King.
Okay, but in exchange, Super Prince also got taken down. King Kong under Shadow, Escalera on the chase alongside outplayed Kirk with the AOG. Beautiful cast over the Ouija Shadow Kill. Will he be able to escape though? As James working on Brusco. Kirk caught in the crossfire there. Had Cheesy used up the feathered airstrike. Good pin down there from outplay to force out the immortality. Winter Crown Blade. Is this enough time, bot? For the Sonics.
That might have been enough time. I mean, now with Twisted Minds 4 members up, they can force into the base. They know, what do we got? 30 seconds away for Kelra and Super Prince. It's Brusco and King Kong only.
James, Hajizi, Spear of Destruction is not going to connect, but the minions are here, and backs against the wall. Twisted Minds, they don't care. They extend the series.
It ain't over just yet. I can hear Brigida's reaction, and I will mirror it. Oh my God. That's exactly how we feel all across the world. This series is not over yet.
And that's right, because we don't want it to be done in a sweep. Again, our first match of the playoffs here in Mpl Philippines season at 15. I feel you, Brigida, and I'm sure Rockhard has a lot to say as well, so we're going to go ahead and pass it over to our panelists to break down Game 3.
My gosh. Oh my golly, indeed.
That was insane.
That was such a good game to watch. As a fan, as a viewer, and I could definitely feel the energy from our audience earlier. That was nearly 30 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, that was a huge game for Twisted Minds. A very long one. It wasn't as easy as, you know, getting a game 1 snap. It was 30 minutes. They were in the base, they backed off again. They were in the base, they backed off again. They were trying to be clean, they tried to be sure, and because of all of that, we have game number 4.
Hats off. Hats off to our game MVP. That's going to be Escalera on the Guinevere, who I believe was one of the very few people to actually try and be consistent in trying to prove and pull off this unorthodox kind of a pick, because there were some ups and downs in terms of their histories in using the Guinevere during the regular season, and there were some moments where they indeed were able to prove themselves, and this is probably the best game where they were able to so far.
100%. We had our doubts when Escalera just, you know, insta-locked the Guinevere earlier, but you know what? He's proven us wrong time and time again in that last one. Again, not the perfect Guinevere game, but just enough to really put a wrench in the cogs of Onyx in that one.
In both the early stages of the game and the late game, the HLG, the Hello Late game, there were so much key spatial migrations coming in from Escalera. During the early stages of the game, he gave way to the first 3 kills to be easily taken there by Twisted Minds, and then towards the latter portions of the game, he just always consistently found key targets, and this is where he found King Kong, where they handed over 2 consecutive deaths onto King Kong, and that's something you're not used to seeing from the King of the Jungle.
Yeah, not everyone can do that. That's also one of the impressive things. I mean, earlier on, King Kong already had a bit of a tough time dealing with outplayed with that one, dealing with the Farsa. I mean, Haji did it so well on the Farsa right here. You expect the Farsa to die so much, but it didn't.
He barely did. He barely did. We are going to double check in our post-game stats the number of times, if any, that Hajizi actually went down. Because as far as we could remember, we were already past 20 minutes into the game, but he has not died once. Not once on this Farsa, even despite the presence of a Gadot, even despite the presence of a Badang, who could have potentially always looked for the Farsa. He was so on point in terms of positioning himself every single time. And mind you, even towards this moment, the way Haji was able to position himself here and land those feathered airstrikes onto Kelra, it spelled out the end for Onyx Philippines.
So impressive. Again, it's difficult enough to do it with the heroes that they have, but to also survive that against the world champions, against the Season 14 champions, is already a feat in and of itself. So big props to Twisted Minds here. Hajizi definitely a bit of an unsung hero in this one, as well as Outplayed. Obviously, well, Outplay was, he was like the spear, the spear-wielding hottie. you know how, as they say in ancient times.
I don't want to say it.
Thou art a spear-wielding hottie.
Yeah. But it's a cool way to call Moscow. I mean, just look at how impactful this guy is. Whenever there is a spatial migration landed by Escalera, and when it's close to a wall, it's almost always a sure kill when Outplayed is within the area. And when you need him to either do the split pushes, when you need him to catch up using the SOD, he's a very reliable gold laner.
Yeah.
even dying once, just once in this game. And to confirm, yes, Hajezi did not die at all. He's 407 on this Farsa. So Onyx Philippines were not able to deal with him at all.
Yeah, again, it was so difficult to deal with just because I think at most parts of the game, the Clint from Kelra didn't do as much worse as we thought it would. So this is the biggest surprise for me from Onyx lineup. Super Friends even doing more damage than the Clint did in that game.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, and we will be confirming this later on, Kelra immediately picked up the Endless Battle into the Sea Halberd and the Malefic Gun. So it wasn't necessarily like that all-out damage kind of build that you were expecting to see, or from, I'd say, other kinds of gold laners that could have been picked up, which are purely DPS and just all about shredding those members that'll come out from Twisted Minds. It was a different story this time around for Kelra, but we have to look at how Onyx Philippines still is able to take home all of these titles in that game. That was such a close fight, and they were still able to do relatively well even up until the 28-minute mark. It just so happened that during that particular setup for the objective, it was Twisted Minds that was more prepared and well positioned.
Yeah, the damage profile obviously also was problematic. It still felt like an Onyx that we know and love.
Yes.
They're the Onyx that kind of just plays it out, knows very well how to position themselves, knows how to start those team fights, but the follow-through was a lot different. It felt like it was lacking in a lot of these fights.
Actually, earlier for the first two games, Brusco on the Padang felt like he was always eager to start things up. But now, up against Joy, up against MP the King, it's almost like Brusco had to do something to stop him. He had to respond and deny MP the King of whatever he wanted to do. And now we will be looking into, I believe, the item progressions as well, which took place in this game, because it has been very interesting. We put a lot of highlight on our game MVP. That is none other than Escalera. And if you would look closely at the item progressions here, actually, he never went for a full item, not until the 14-minute mark. He decided to go, as we call it, the chop suey build, only picking up either the Dreadnought armor, either the magic robe, up until that moment where he decided to pick up the immortality as his first item. So you know that he just really wanted to go in for that well-rounded defense, be able to sustain things a little longer because he was there to set things up. That was his main role on the Guinevere, and it is very commendable how he was able to carry out majority of it, especially in key moments of the game. That is both, again, in the early and the late stages of the game, and especially when it came to the late stages where he was much more equipped. He had a lot more of the items that were necessary to deal with the damage. That was where he probably felt that, yeah, the damage profile really feels lacking for Onyx Philippines, because especially on the targets which were most accessible to them, they could barely deal the necessary damage, and that's on Escalera.
It's one of those games where King Kong was actually struggling to make pickoffs happen, despite having a bit of a good early game anyway. I mean, they were trying to steal his purple buffs a lot, but he was actually coming out on top with those. So I was really like looking for that big boom, that big moment where the spike would happen from Onyx, and it felt like it didn't happen at all in game number 3.
Yep. Here though, definitely, that mastery on the Guinevere provided to us by Escalera, no one should be questioning it anymore.
That's right.
After this game. And let's head into a quick meta check this time around for Twisted Minds. And as we've seen in that previous game, of course, what we're seeing from here are statistics coming in from their regular season performance, and we're not seeing those high numbers similar to what we saw from Onyx Philippines' side. But at least you see here how the Joy seemingly makes a really huge difference. There was a Padang, there was Brusco on the other side, there was that on Onyx Philippines, who every now and then did a great job in stopping MP the King, but this felt like literally MP the King unleashed, you know? He was just able to do everything he wanted, and there was seemingly no threats from the damage dealers of Onyx Philippines.
That's true. That's what we're looking for here. A big question for that Clint pick was also, could it have been a good Kimmy lineup? Could it have been a good Bruno lineup? So those are things that might be answered by us later for Onyx. But for Twisted, they do have a lot of picks that they have tried out right there on the lower left that didn't really get any wins.
Yep.
It's a big list, guys. It's a big list.
It's a long list, and there are some unique heroes too that you could probably see on the lower right portions, but we're yet to see something similar to this again. And that's probably one of the most interesting things so far about this series, because it does feel like Twisted Minds, although they keep on teasing us about all these surprise picks and plans they have, it doesn't feel like they're actually showing us any of that. It's just more of like a much refined version of what Twisted Minds was trying to accomplish in the first few weeks of the regular season.
So it's like it's just like a continuation of their mission to become the meta shapers, I think, which, in fairness, they were able to really prove that you need to ban certain heroes against them, at least, right? It doesn't really translate a really high placement, but you know what? They're here. They were able to pull out, a bit of an interesting lineup and still win with it. We are 2-1 so far. So they actually might be able to do this, Brigida. I don't know.
Are you telling me there's a chance that it might happen in the actual do or die?
I mean, every game's a do or die for them now.
Right
but
now, yeah.
It feels like there's just fight. It's good to see that at least for Twisted Minds, there's still that fight within them that can really go toe to toe against the current world champions. Again, they're probably the team that has the hardest matchup so far in this whole playoffs.
Yep, and awaiting whoever wins from the series, if I'm not mistaken, it's Aurora. So that's another thing you have to think about.
Big hurdle.
There's some sort of similarities between these two, if any. And
for the longest time, it's been Aurora and Onyx toe to toe.
Based on how this is looking, Twisted Minds, they're starting to get that groove.
Yeah, getting in that groove might just be the difference maker here in the playoffs. The playoffs is a big difference from regular season. It's a big swap out, so stuff can change. That's why you have to keep watching. Let's throw it over to our host, though. I think we're doing something on the stage while we're waiting for Game 4 to get started.
Thank you to our panelists, Romy and Chantel. Nararamdaman niya that they will continue to twist the game. Narinig ko nga kanina si Midnight sabi niya, they're twisting the game, let's do the twist. Mangyayari kaya yon sa Game 4? Pero you know what?
What?
Before we see that, Hans, we have champions in our mids here. A big round of applause for our MDL Season 5 champions, Onyx 9 Lives! Gusto ko yan. Gusto ko yung moves na yan. Paki-flex naman ang inyong trophy. Ayan.
Trophy, raising it all up. And hi, guys, welcome. I know na you've been here for a while kasi nakikita ko rin kayo every now and then na nanonood talaga kayo ng MPL dito mismo sa arena. But now the spotlight is yours. Go ahead and introduce yourselves para sa lahat ng nakakita sa inyo for the first time.
Ako po si Kane, jungler ng Onyx 9 Lives.
That's Kane.
I'm Sean po, Pospor ng Onyx 9 Lives.
I'm Kaloy po, Rom ng Onyx 9 Lives.
Lanzo po, Explain na ng Onyx 9 Lives.
Coach Wright, coach ng Onyx 9 Lives.
Rex po, Godley ng Onyx 9 Lives.
Kryptonite po, tank support ng Onyx 9 Lives.
Nasha po, Godley ng Onyx.
Wow, thank you so much for joining us here. Unang-una, no, before we talk about your kuyas right in front of us right now, ano yung feeling na hawak-hawak nyo na ang MDL trophy nyo?
Yeah,
Kaloy,
kamusta?
you wanna take this question? All right. Anong feeling na naging champions kayo for this season for MDL?
Ano po, nakakaisip po ko, taas po, di po kami mapaniwalang champion kami.
Coach, what about you? How proud are you of all of them here na kayo ang naging champion?
Sobrang saya po. Tsaka proud na proud ako sa kanila kasi yung iba dito rookie lang pero nakuha na agad nila yung champion.
Diba? Grabe.
Yeah,
so, isa pa coach, no? I'm sure you're proud of all of them here. Pero as I said, yung mga kuyas nila ay nandito and they're fighting for their chance to get the Immortal
That's
Cup.
right.
Yes, so what is your message for Onyx right now as they're about to have Game 4? Sean?
Gusto ko lang po sabihin sana ma-close out na yung series tsaka good luck sa mga future games nila. Tapos ayun, get the championship na mga guys.
Get the championship, Kuya. So, okay. What about the others?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, gusto ko rin malaman kay Sean. Because, again, this team, I think you've been together for a while now. Di ba? Madalas tayo mag-aasama. Talk to us kung paano ba nabuo ang team na to at saan kayo nagsimula before you got that championship.
Ano po talaga, nagpa-tryout po si Coach Wright. Then, ayun, napili po kami ni Coach Wright. Tapos, yun na.
You were
Si
the right
Coach,
choice
ikaw yung
of
start.
Coach Wright. Coach Wright, ano
Ikaw
bang
yung
meron sa mga
beginning.
batang tot nakitaan mo ng potential?
Bali, last season, nandun na si Kane tsaka si Sean, tapos si Kryptonite tsaka si Codrex. Then, nung nagpa-tryout ako, nakuha ko bali si Lansu, tsaka si... Nausya. Lansu, Nausya.
All right. Hindi, excited lang si Coach to be here in front of us right now. So how long have you been playing as a team? Yung core team nyo, Coach, before you had, how long na kayong naglalaro together as a team sa MDL?
6 months po, kasi maaga rin yung preparation namin for MDL nung last.
Oo. So ano yung naging preparasyon nyo? Kasi sabi mo nga may mga bago sa team. Ano yung preparations nyo for the MDL Playoffs? Kasi kitang-kita naman nag-work. Kayo yung champions for this season.
That's right.
Preparations nyo.
Bali, yung sinasamahan namin ng team bonding yung practice namin para mas mabilis kami mag-sync. Kasi yung iba dito, first time na nakapasok eh. So, parang dun, ayun yung way namin para mas mapabilis yung sync nila sa mga all players.
Alright. And speaking of team bonding, ano yung ginawa nyo? Last question. Last two questions. Ano yung ginawa nyo nung nanalo kayo sa playoffs? Ano yung ginawa nyo to celebrate?
To celebrate.
Kumain lang, tapos tulog na.
Kumain, tapos tulog, tapos laro ulit.
That's it. You're
All right. I want to ask you to invite everyone there. Sa mga nangangarap na maging part din ng MDL and MPL, what's your message for all of them here to be like everyone here
To be
na naging champions din?
Sa mga nangangarap makapasok sa pro scene, wag lang kayo susuko. Then kung gusto niyo talaga is, yun nga, wag kayo susuko.
Kung gusto nyo na talaga, kaya nyo yun. Huwag kayong sumuko. With that said, we still have teams here who do not want to give up. They want to continue their stories here at Mpl PH Season 15 Playoffs. With that said, let's throw it back to our panelists. Womi, Chantel, it's up to you now. Take over.
If there's anything we learned from that interview, Brigida,
Don't give up.
and don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't
So
give up.
don't give up and don't give up.
Yep. Those are the MDL PH Season 5 champions, Onyx
Congratulations.
Lives. Congratulations to them. I was there when it happened. It was a very jam-packed venue, and
We were literally sitting like here, like this.
It was a close series too. I think they maxed out the series as well, and they were up against Aurora Hunters, Aurora MLBB's MDL team, and it was a very emotional one. You know, like I saw their players, like the Aurora Hunters, being very emotional after that, but. Even in MDL, that's just how competitive it is here in the Philippines.
It really is. The Aurora Hunters were really good as well. They were able to get a game.
Yeah.
But after that, I think it was 2-1, right? Or was it 1-1 and it became a 2-1 and then it was just over at some point. I think we saw really good mental fortitude coming in from Onyx 9 Lives, losing out on game number 1. And that was just it. That was just as good as it gets. For the region, though, we're talking about gold lane rankings, and look at that. Kelra closing it out. Basically in the echelon, the upper echelon of the gold lanes.
Higher than average. If you were probably gonna take the average of of all the players here, Savero is also a bit on the other end of like the range we're seeing among the players, among the gold laners here. But yeah, these are like the third seeds of the world. Right? And I know it's surprising to see the former champions here, but it is what it is.
It is, and again, very notably, 2 Onyx players currently on third seeds. So that's something. That's something. Right now, we have a blue side selection here for Twisted Minds. not going for the red like Onyx usually does. It feels like they're very comfortable where they are right there on the blue, making that first pick happen, maybe surprising us with something else. Again, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for something really crazy.
Yep.
We're going to the draft here for game number 4, though. And we saw it earlier, right? You saw when we were peering down the players. Twisted Minds goes very, very calm.
Yeah, Coach Bonchan was all smiles while they were preparing themselves for the draft. And I believe we'll be alongside Redmar again. I hope he didn't take the wrong call.
I hope he's already done with the customer service.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, pointing us Renmore. There you go. I hear him.
Okay, there you go. Is the Joy first pick appearing soon again? Or does Twisted Minds have a different plan in mind? Because it did work really well for them earlier in game number 3. This game, game number 3.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about like possible hero picks to make an appearance here that Twisted Minds might force. I was actually thinking they will go for healer roams. Which is something that happens a lot in high-rank RGs here in the Philippines.
Like the Florians
like
and all
Florian, yeah. But apparently they're not really going that route quite yet. Very happy to just deny that joy away from Onyx.
Yeah, I mean they're top 1 in terms of average heal to allies, but a very much more like Onyx. First 2 picks are appearing so far. It's still the Padang, but this time it's not the Clint, it's the Moscow for Kelra.
Yeah, Renmore, what do you think about this? Twisted Mind just letting the Badang through over and over again. What's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're gonna stop the Badang or you have to stop the Badang, but I think it's the adjustment of Onyx Philippines in this draft that's so much better. In game number 3, they picked up the Badang and Lo Yi. I really thought that they'd rush the Moscow pickup then because that's your main answer against the Joy, but now that they pick it up, they don't have to worry about the Joy so much. Now, they have to worry about the Baksha, which I think might actually be going into the roam here because you already see the full EXP, the Joy in the jungle, it's 100% a roam Baksha, something that we've been seeing pop off more in global MLBB.
Yeah, because I mean these 3 roles revealed so far by Twisted Minds are the roles where a Baksha can go into. But you've already revealed that it is potentially going to go into the role, which I feel really suits Escalera and the playstyle he's been showing us so far.
It really does.
He just keeps going in and looking for the targets.
It looks so good, not to mention it also has that added benefit of basically disabling any hero roams. Like, I know it's not going to happen, but that's a side benefit.
Yeah.
Also works very well against Kimmy in this current meta.
Well, they did ban it out though.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't need to ban it out, but you know, if in case, you know, Onyx thought about picking up the Kimmy, it was a very good pick against it. So now we're trying to see if we can get back to that mid focus. How has Super Friends been doing on the mid, Renmar, and what other heroes might you want to see from him?
Ooh, considering that there's a Baksha on the other side, I would not be mad if he went up and picked up a Valir here. Considering that he was one of the players that... Actually, no, he was the player from the regular season that made the Valir really pop off. And I think that's an option that they're going to be considering. Usually you want to pick it up against slower lineups in the jungle, but even though it is still a Baksha and Phoveus, I'd still consider that as a pick. However, they're going to be locking into the sheer burst damage, so they might still go down the burst damage route, but I wouldn't mind the Valir. Like, something about it just seems like it'll be a really good pick.
Although it doesn't necessarily match, like, or it doesn't directly answer, like, the speed and the aggression that can potentially come in from Twisted Minds, it can serve as a great way to punish. Like, whenever there is going to be a failed attempt from Escalera, there's almost no way out once you already decide to commit your Baksha Shield Unity and you get to put yourself in a position right in front of the members of Onyx Philippines. So that can be a potential route, because if it's just about punish, the Valir and the Padang together might be lethal for Twisted Minds. And there you go!
Oh, man! I actually got it? Cool!
You did. Looks great, doesn't it? I mean, that does work very well against the first 3 picks of Twisted.
Yeah.
It also kind of leaves a little bit of a wiggle room. Kind of just can do whatever you want for that last pick here.
Oh, dang.
But there's the Eve, kind of just has pretty good range, decent range against the Valir. Also can doesn't immediately die against the Valier
it's
as well.
the Granger.
And the Granger, there you go. More mobility kind of needs to... enables them to dance around the Valier as well.
Yeah. So at least they get to control the box to some extent, and they just allow for more room, again, for Mpl the King to rarely find his targets. But they complete their lineup with a Cho, so these are multiple setup heroes that Onyx Philippines are deciding to show us.
Yeah, thoughts about this, Renmar?
That was a really good shift that Onyx did there at the end of their draft. They are now a much more mobile lineup with a Cho in the rope, and then they sent the Badang into the EXP lane instead. That means that what I thought was a very, very good Eve pick for the side of Twisted Minds and Hajizi might mean that this is going to be too mobile, too crafty a lineup that they have to face against.
It does feel like it.
The Cho oftentimes might just be the one to force you to use the real-world manipulation, even during timings wherein you do not want to use it just yet. And for Onyx Philippines, probably they're sensing that they really need to find an answer to Haji, because Haji has done a spectacular job in game number 3.
Let's see if he can repeat that here in game number 4. Throwing over that casters.
Thank you so much, panel, for breaking it down again. It's game number 4 upon us. They extended the series off of an amazing long game for Twisted Minds. Can they do it again to take us all the way to 5 games? We'll see if it happens. Brusco early on. Whoa.
Oh, Mpl the King, first blood drawn.
Man.
To the Bruiser.
Oh,
that's not good.
That is not the start that Onyx Philippines wanted. They want them dictating the tempo, but I think up against this Baksha, I just realized Baksha can roam around the map really well too, very quickly.
Oh, even Hajizi actually stopped the recall of Super Friends there, so enough time bought again for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, man. Maybe Brusco is just like, man, I'm tired of playing Badang. Like, Kirk, you play him. And
your turn.
Your turn. So, like, I don't know, maybe because he's played them the past couple games, he's like, oh, yeah, oops, I forgot I'm playing the Cho. Like, you know, and ends up dying early on. So, Twisted Minds with that little bit of an advantage. And mind you, that little bit of advantage going to Mpl the King on the Joy is going to pay dividends, I feel like, especially into the first objective. You can see how aggressive he is, right? He's on that side of the jungle. And Kirk is there, gives them the information, so they might try to make a play before even that first Lord comes up, especially if Brusco does happen to have that Way of the Dragon by the time the turtle comes up, then maybe they can make something happen. But this debut pick for Escalera, whoa, how is he?
Forced out the flicker.
How does Baksha roam work, man? Like, statistically, I know we've seen it around the other regions, but how good is it?
It's the speed, bro, and how tanky you are. The fact that you're also providing healing reduction. It's just a solid pickup. I'm not sure of the total win rate globally, but it does pop up often that I ended up having to make a post about him.
You made a post about it. Well, right now, that'll help him go ahead and secure the first objective. Turtle secured. And outplayed too. It looks like he's going ahead and winning his lane against Kawa right now. So a lot of good things happening for Twisted Minds in this game 4. And yeah, Mpl, like I said, the fact that he's got this early start's great for him. I'm wondering how King Kong's going to go ahead and play catch up here a little bit. Or if he's able to just kind of farm up, you know, do his thing.
Yeah, he might even pull off his very own turbo, is that turbo jungling pattern?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was.
Back in the keys of victory?
Yeah, King Kong turbo jungling pattern again with a momentum-based hero like Joy, so that's a good sign for Twisted Minds. And not to mention, as you mentioned rather, Escalera from setting up to being literally the main information guy now for Twisted Minds. They always know where King Kong is rotating and where Brusco is hiding.
Brusco's level 4. I don't think you kick Escalera, obviously. Escalera, by the way, previous game just had a hell of a game. I like to see that we are in this portion of, well, I guess Twisted Minds has always been like this. Escalera playing the more unorthodox picks. You know, the Guinevere, and now you have the Baksha here. Really takes a certain type of player, but also team to go ahead and let that happen and play around it. And again, I think as we get through this game and get through some of these objectives, it's like Brusco, he's got to be the guy to start these fights up. There isn't really going to be much anyone else to do it unless Kirk is around the area. But he's kind of just forced to be in his own, you know, lane and follow around James. And we know that James has been the player, or like the guy to play the Phoveus to a pretty good game. They might not have win all the time, but it's usually James that is just kind of wrecking the opposing teams when he does get his hands on the Phoveus.
Yeah, this might be one of those games where it's just going to be determined a lot by the major objective team fights. Usually when we have a Cho game, even a fast roaming pick such as the Baksha, there are skirmishes and little actions that happens in the river, in the jungle, but I think both Brusco and Escalera have just turned the page a bit and just decided, you know what, let's just focus on the major objectives. But wait, up top, this could be a big play.
Oh!
Yikes.
KK connection. Gets one on to outplayed as MP the King trades instead for the turtle. So outplayed for a turtle.
All right, so the two roamers have their eyes set on the major objective, but the difference is the junglers. King Kong wanted to help Kelra. MP wanted to get the major objective instead. But now it's a losing trade, it seems like, across the map for Twisted Minds because Onyx Philippines were able to get the tower up top.
Yeah, they got quite a bit. You know, they gave up the turtle, sure. That's 2 in the hands of Twisted Minds, but you get a nice kill for King Kong, and then you get that turret down. They're going to go ahead and bring them a little bit of an advantage, nothing too crazy, but still a play nonetheless for Onyx Philippines. Now, Twisted Minds still in, I would say, you know, the majority of the control here, and working through it. You can see how the XP is going, too, across the board, and that's what I was wondering, you know, how would King Kong deal with that early advantage that MP had? And he's doing relatively fine, at least keeping up the levels, and that play up top was part of it.
Yeah. I mean, jungling pattern uninterrupted. Even if Escalera provides a lot of vision for Twisted Minds, it doesn't necessarily translate to getting King Kong out of his rhythm. And at the same time, yeah, the kill up top plus the turret takedown as outplayed gets a turret for himself.
This is like one of those games where it's like you don't want to fight. So it's like we're just going to go on opposite sides of the map and take these objectives while we can. And when we're ready, we'll fight. Because I feel like it's Onyx Philippines just kind of waiting to see what Twisted Minds even does here. Mid lane might be the focus.
Want to go for the mid lane and got Super Prince. Brusco got caught in the crossfire again. Up against 5 members. Kirk just has to walk, but still he went in for the combo. Enough time bought to delay and save the turret. Gets taken down. Kelvin joins in the picture. Not going to be able to bring down anyone. And Twisted Minds, everyone survives.
This is exactly why I was gushing over the Eve pickup. Although, yes, there's still a possibility that it would struggle, but that was one of the best scenarios for how easy to draw down the real-world manipulation, bring down the star field down to the gods themselves, and now it leads to this. Another turtle taken by Twisted Minds without a problem, and a lot of threat in the center of the map now that Brusco and Super Friends are getting checked incredibly well by Twisted. Looking at the items, up to a Sky Piercer for the Granger. I was worried about the development of Outplayed in this game, but now he has a very slight lead over Kelra in the gold. And he has his core items. Brusco!
Connects with the kick, finds Haji. This time, Kelra was able to dish out the damage to bring down one. They want to go for James. Escalera joins the picture. James was able to flicker up, but Kelra goes in as well. Super Prince was able to take down James. Next target is Escalera and a 4-kill swing for the Sonics.
Brusco. And meanwhile, the whole time, here's King Kong pushing another turret down, and we'll take a buff on top of it. Man, they came in and they said, I want it all.
Bro, it's all of the efforts of Twisted Minds in the past 2 minutes. You know what? Past 7 minutes of this game, just completely dashed, head bashed right into the wall as Onyx Philippines. I thought that they'd only walk away with 1 or 2, but Twisted Minds decided to fight into it. The fact that Kirk timed his fist break and fist crack. Oh! King Kong found Hajizi, what?
A solo kill in the middle lane, and now they catch James also. There's no flicker, so he might fall down. Super Friends connects. Kelra with the SOD. He's not going to overcommit, though, but 4 members of the Sonics are still here. They want to push the mid lane.
Oh, they're just going to push that mid lane.
Yeah, it's all falling apart for Twisted Minds. Onyx Philippines have found more than just second win. They found hope yet again. As it looked like Twisted Minds after that big sequence in the mid with Hajizi's real-world manipulation leading into the 3rd turtle. In a snap, in a flash, Onyx Philippines have taken total control of this game.
Yeah, you know, Brusco took that first blood kill of MP the King personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that first blood, he wanted to make a play for Onyx, and that play in the mid lane that resulted to 4 kills for Onyx was the turning point for the Sonics.
Brusco, every time I see Brusco, man, he's like the Hulk, you know? Like, he
Yeah.
gets beat up, but it's like the more that he gets beat up, the more that he takes damage, like the angrier it gets and the more plays he pops off. Oh, mid lane again.
Infernal Pursuit forcing them out of position, and Brusco got caught again by MP the King.
No, you won't like him when he's angry.
King Kong joins the picture, and Kirk with a combo again to bring down Hajizi also.
Oh,
Spirit Destruction isn't gonna connect. Kirk, though, caught by 3. Just doing enough time to delay, and Twisted Minds catches 2.
Would have been a completely different story if Keller's SOT hit. But at the end of the day, it's Twisted Minds who walks away with the victory there. It seems like they're rushing the Lord. They're looking for King Kong. MP found King Kong!
Oh, or did King Kong find MP? He's got to get out of there, though. Uh-oh.
Oh, but Escalera stun! Beautiful outplayed, dishing out the Rhapsody and shuts him down! Right in the perfect moment, even James pops in! Beautiful cast with Dark Wave plus Flicker, but Super Friends was able to cast that ultimate, so it's King Kong down for Onyx.
This game, it feels messy, but they're making so many good plays where they need to. The fight for this Lord, though, is crucial. And on the Philippines, they might want to stop this.
Real Annihilation dropped down already. Spear of Destruction is going to connect. Kelmer goes in, but outplayed. Not going to be able to sustain it. Kelmer just wrecking havoc. Going to pick up 2. Jace might be the next target here. Super Friends in the picture. But they still be able to take down Brusco. A double kill for Escalera. But an answer from Super Friends.
It's only the Magician left. The Lord will be marching out. Onyx did enough to minimize what could have been an absolute destructive Lord take for Twisted. They'll be able to stop the Lord. Now Twisted has to recover from this because it looked good for them. While Onyx Philippines, both of them recovering, tripping, falling down, getting back up again. It's a back and forth in the most epic proportions.
Oh, man, I love it. I love what we're seeing right now for Game 4. The biggest thing that sticks out for me, too, for Onyx Philippines really is Super Friends again on this Valier. The draft, you know, our panelists were even surprised with it, and Super Friends has been playing really well. As the scales up with the items, though, that's where the Valier really turns into a menace for the opposing team.
Yeah.
And we're already starting to see that build up. And they fight for this space around the jungle. King Kong looking for an angle here, or maybe just to take the buff. They might try to go ahead and bait Twisted Minds into a fight. But they might want to not take this as they secure the buff for MP. So crucial, crucial things on both sides. Let's take a quick look at the items here for both teams.
All right. It's written in the star field right now for Twisted Minds. For the ultimate of Hajizi, only up to 2 items, but similar to Super Friends as well. Still neck and neck in terms of the gold. No one with a clear advantage. Wind of Nature already for the Granger. No Wind of Nature defensive item style yet for Kelra. Pure damage for the Moskov. Only up to Holy Crystal is MP the King. Actually decided to rush it as the second item. So that's just a slight adjustment for that. Malefic Gun just built up there for the Moskov. Oh man, this is it'll be very interesting. If you notice, no Dominance Ice built just yet. Still on the way for the third item is for Escalera. But Twisted Minds has been really relying on the passive of the Baksha to be able to reduce the healing coming in on the side of Onyx Philippines. Now that Keller's built up, Twisted Minds are going to be building that Dominance Ice on that Baksha at the right time. Question is, will they need another? I feel like they'll need another one. And that has to fall onto James' hands.
James, yeah. And with that, Onyx Philippines, the biggest advantage they had is the amount of space they can maneuver. You know, they've got, what, 5 turrets down to 1 for Twisted Minds. And that's where the advantage on the macro level comes in, especially when we start having to the Lord takes here. So for Onyx Philippines to continue to put pressure on the map and work with that advantage is what Twisted Minds has to deal with, how they are going to approach that. Now, Brusco, too, we've seen it time and time again. This Cho is so risky. If he decides to kick the wrong target to go in, James,
When tried to go in there with Infernal Pursuit, MP the King as well. But Twisted Minds decides to back off.
Yeah, you see the threat there of that Valier. Once he got the Vengeance Flame up, the Burst Fireballs. Stopping Twisted Minds just enough. MP the King really thought about popping his ultimate, but decided, no, it's going to be way too risky for me if I did that. And now the space provided means Onyx Philippines will be able to start this Lord comfortably. They're just going to be waiting for Keller to get here with an SOD later on. Twisted Minds, if they can pull this off, force a game number 5, momentum will be in their favor.
Okay, Lord is up. Quarter of the health is down. It's going to go for some resets, though. Kelro will stay bottom side. I feel like that's what we see every single time we have the Moskov come to play. We're just holding our breaths once that Spirit of Destruction is thrown out. But it looks like he's just going to join this one up as he makes his way for this fight. Oh, hold on, Kirk.
Already committed the combo there. On to James. King Kong enters the picture.
Oh, no.
MP the King. Oh, a beautiful kick from Brusco though. But no follow-up for Onyx. King Kong got caught by James. But is able to cast a Wiki Shadow Kill and brought down James. One more hit. Hajis with the RWM to bring down King Kong. MP the King working on Super Friend takes him down as well. 2 kills swing for Twisted Mind. But the base, Kelra working on the turret.
Okay, it's Hajizi. He got back in time. Can he stop Kelra? Can he stop the Moskov? Twisted Minds are able to get this. Kelra!
Okay, Kelra with a beautiful knockback. Working on Hajizi. Winter Crown play this time connects. Escalera, Kelra. Escalera wins the fight.
Escalera and Hajizi just in time, stopping the split push. The Lord marching with Twisted. This could be road to game 5.
Oh my goodness, oh my golly, as Brigida would say, because that could have been way worse for Twisted Minds. But they made it happen, and good thing that is a boxer in the hands of Escalera to join the fight that fast.
If this was a Grand Prix, Twisted Minds literally just changed to the hardest of tires, and it's working out very well for them. No way, don't tell me Twisted Minds will actually force game 5. It's a 5v5 though.
Okay, they're trying to deal out damage. James goes in as well. As Escalera tries to zone it out. RWM already cast it down. Kirk got caught again and got bursted down by Outplayed.
That's 2.
But MP the King will fall down. That's 2 for Onyx. King Kong, Kelra working. That's 3. 3 members down for the Sonics. Kelra versus James. KK connection. Will they be able to do it though? Kelra was able to walk away as King Kong with a wee shadow kill. Gonna bring down James. Outplayed. Escalera has to back off, but they got one inhibitor turret.
And it's not over yet. KK holds on for the gods. King and Kelra holding on for Onyx as Twisted Minds have solidified a lead here. It's not the lead, it's just a lead for a moment because the towers are too close and this game is too close to call.
Oh my goodness, taking a look at the replay again, this was a crucial defense for Onyx Philippines, but even with this, again, that Spirit of Destruction, Kelra and King Kong, they're together to deal with that and even get James. What a play coming out for Onyx Philippines, but man, you gotta remember, Twisted Minds is facing elimination from the playoffs with this. They have to win this game to get to a game 5 to keep the hopes alive for now. And once again, we're going to look at the items here before this next objective comes up.
Winter Crown and Hajizi. We saw it in play earlier during the attempt of Kelra to finish the game alone, but that is going to be the item right now for Haji. I said it earlier, it's written in the star field of the Eve. It's written in Haji's hands. The pen is in his hands. A great real-world manipulation will reward them. We saw it earlier, but Onyx just got to miraculously defend. Twisted has to do everything they can moving forward to make sure Hajizi does not die.
Crucial, man. That real-world manipulation has been so valuable to just everything that Twisted Minds has been doing, especially when we consider these Lords. It's up now. Both teams will go ahead and figure out how they want to approach this. Earlier on, I said, you know, the advantage for Onyx Philippines was the fact that they had all that space to work with. They had the 5 turrets down. They might have gotten a couple more, but Twisted Minds has gotten that as well. Both base turrets to stand for both teams. It'll be Onyx Philippines that starts up the Lord here. They've got positioning. Brusco's got an immortality, and James is going to be the one to scout things out. Lord sitting at half health. It's going to go for a soft reset while it does evolve. But now this is the question. Where does Escalera go? What angle do they take? And how does Twisted Minds deal with this? Onyx Philippines will take their time here while James gives them all the information they need.
We're going to see another Lord dance once again. Previously in the last game, Twisted Minds executed Lord dances to perfection. They can replicate it now. Forced out Onyx out of position. Escalera with a shield unity plus conceal. They may be able to burst out Super Friends. James goes in from the back. Real world manipulation! again from Jay-Z. Gonna bring down Super Friends. King Kong was able to shadow out though. Brusco forced to use the conceal, and they forced back the Sonics.
They've only lost one. That is only one, but that might just be the crack in the armor that they need to take this Lord without a problem. Onyx will have to concede it.
Oh no, are they actually going to try to contest this? Quarter of the health on the Lord. Kelra's in the mid lane. It looks like they want to.
Kirk,
someone has to defend.
Oh, Kelra's going down the mid.
Outplay gets the Lord with their crown play there coming in from James. Brusco and Kirk on the chase for him. Brusco got caught again. He was able to cheat Kundu out, but the time's a turn for the Twisted Minds, forcing Onyx to back off again.
All right, it's going to be a big 5v5. No flickers already for James and Hajizi. Super Friends, Kirk and Brusco. Key battle spells gone. Escalero will get his Revitalize back. Escalero will have to go back and heal, but it seems like he's not going to do it. Lord pushing down bottom, minion wave up top, not going to be able to get cleared by King Kong as he has to go back for the defense. Oof. Minion wave in mid. This could be very, very tough for Onyx. Can Twisted pull it off?
You're going to have to deal with it. The Lord is so beefy on this side. They don't have much of a front line. Escalero jumps in on Kirk.
Okay, used up the Revitalize, also real world manipulation. Once again, Dark Wave from James. Brusco has to back off. King Kong with the shadow though. Escalero quite low, but they might be able to bring down Kirk. One more hit. Escalero picks up another. Keller worked on the Lord. They were able to save the mid lane, but...
All right, all right, all right.
Which side was this on?
All right, inhale.
Looks like it's...
Exhale, all right.
Breathe with me. One more.
It happened right as Kirk went down, and there was a lull in the sequence.
It looks like it's on...
We get, as of now, we cannot tell which side called the pause. Called the pause, excuse me. But we are 20 minutes in. Oh, there. It's up there in your corner right now.
So it is Onyx.
To the side of Onyx Philippines.
Man, talk about a series, right? I mean, this is a 20-minute game we were just talking about earlier.
Yeah, and as I was saying, literally everything that Twisted Minds are doing in team fights is to keep Hajizi alive. They either die with a Starfield or they don't. And so far they're picking the route of let's make sure he just doesn't die. We use this real world manipulation, we make the most out of it, and if we need to go back to just make sure Hajizi stays alive, then we will go back. They're living and dying on the hill of Haji.
The hill of Haji. That's what they've got right now, man. They're in his world, and it's not manipulated. It's real, though.
Onyx world right now is they have to defend the push of Twisted Minds with just 4 members. Kirk again got bursted down. Although James had to back off, he was 1 hit away. And prior to the pause, he was, I think Super Friends might be able to take him down with the burn effect of his Valir.
We're heading in.
So let's
we're
see.
about to head on in. We got to catch up. What are we looking at with this base defense? We get a nice look at that turn in the mid lane. It's going to go down. They hold on to it. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, they do hold on to it. They can clear out the lanes. But Onyx Philippines ultimately still in the game despite a demolished or nearly demolished base.
Not yet done for Onyx. We thought this story was so obvious that everyone knew how this was going to be told, but I don't think anyone expected this. A game number 4 on the way potentially to a game number 5 with Twisted Minds 6th, barely making it into the playoffs, taking it to a team that has won in Malaysia again. Did they win in Indonesia? Yes, they did. They've won in so many countries across the world in the past few months.
You saw the if you missed the graphic that we showed earlier in the broadcast before the series even started, it was all the accolades and achievements that Onyx Philippines has achieved just throughout the, last year or so. And right now with Twisted Minds, this is why I was saying going into this, I was like, yeah, they had their, downtime in the regular season and they probably didn't perform, but they were the team that was testing the limits of the meta.
Yeah.
And you can see it here. It is actually really working in their favor. Those 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so that we had off from the regular season and going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It seems like Twisted Minds is a different team from what we saw in the regular season.
And in case you missed the one important plot hook that was discussed in the panel. Coach Bonchan has never been dropped in the first round of the playoffs.
I'd say that's a Bonchan bless.
It's the Bonchan effect. Now for Twisted Minds, 1.1k gold lead. Lord has spawned, but Onyx Philippines putting a lot of pressure, trying to push in the lanes up top and down bottom. They actually created a slow push down there.
Wow. Calra even getting a little more defensive. Picks up the potion here again, quite locked in. What is that one called again? Is it Rock Potion? What's the defensive potion called?
I actually forgot.
It's the defensive one.
But it's the yellow-orange one.
The yellow-orange one. For some reason, I feel it's a Rock Potion.
Wasn't it Rock Potion? I remember it.
Yeah, I think it's Rock Potion.
So
Don't doubt yourself, nice.
Picks that up.
Oh.
A little more.
Okay.
Okay.
Prior to the pause again, Kirk already committed the fist crack. So no ultimate for the Badang.
Yeah. Okay, I have to correct one thing though.
Rock Potion.
No. Not the Rock Potion. Coach Bonchan, specifically at the beginning of his coaching career, yeah, he hasn't dropped out of the first round in a while. He actually has. Only once though.
When was it?
It was in Season 6 against Omega Esports. The score then was 3-2.
Man, that sounds like a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. But
6 would have been what? 3 years?
3 years. No, excuse me. Four. Yeah, it was 2021. So it's been a very long. No, excuse me, 2020. Wow. It was like, yeah, we were like in lockdown.
I remember what happened in
5
2020.
years. Yeah, I was locked in my room in 2020. That's what.
We definitely weren't looking at each other.
Yeah, we weren't. I didn't know you yet, sadly. So, yeah, it's been 5 years since Coach Bonchan has been dropped out of the first round of the playoffs. But ever since he started racking up championships in Season 7, yes, he hasn't been dropped from the first round since then specifically.
Yeah, but at least one thing for sure is he never got swept in the first round at least.
Yep, that would be a big part of what's made Bonchan, you know, such a formidable figure in the competitive scene of MLBB. I mean, I even like to tune into his own content that he puts out. You know, like the way that he breaks things down and explains things is always really enjoyable. And like I said, when you come down to the journey that Twisted Minds has been on throughout this regular season and to where they are in the playoffs, they've improved so much just in the series alone. I mean, think about it. They're going long games against a team like Onyx Philippines, you know, with all the accolades, but it looks like we're jumping back in. So what are we looking at? Another little breather. That's what we're looking at while we get things situated here and figured out. So, you know, man, I don't know. That Lord is up.
Yeah.
That Lord is up, and this is high stakes for both teams because honestly, I feel like for some, like I'm a little like I've been, you know, like yeah, super fan. But I feel like when they're under those pressurous moments in some of the series, like let's say we get to a game 5, with this kind of drafting from Twisted Minds, it might be enough to kind of like maybe mess the super fam up. I don't know.
Yeah. The last time we saw Onyx in a situation similar to this was last season's grand finals up against Aurora in that game 7. And that game 7 could have gone either way. It looked like Aurora was on their way to winning a championship. But one final play.
What are we looking at here?
That he was able to complete the Naruto Escape collection, it looks like.
I only got 3. But again, imagine if Onyx loses, not just this game but the series, it's the second consecutive time that a defending champion got dropped in the first round.
Bro, yeah. Bro, I wouldn't be surprised if at that point, if we actually get to like game 5, Coach Bonchan's gonna go, Escalera, it's time. Play the Estes. Let's run it way back. MP, you know how to play Jungle Aldous? All right. Nah, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but it'll be funny. They're like, come on, it's... Coach Bonchan on social media has been very vocal about his confidence in his team in this series. I mean, you can't blame the man. Like, you have to hype up your team as your head coach, saying about how it's like... one of the things that he was telling his team is that Twisted Minds, our team should be the team that teams in the playoffs should be wary about going up against.
Because...
No, that was it. It ended there.
He never explained it.
He never explained why. He just said...
Just one of those mystery moments.
Yeah, one of those Bon-Chan mystery moments, you know?
Bon-Chan mystery moments.
He's had so many of that, but... let's see what happens. I did not expect the very first day of our playoffs to be like this. But I'm very glad it is where we are right now. I mean, I wish we weren't in a pause, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, and I saw this even on socials, like leading into the series, a lot of people are throwing out sweeps.
Yeah.
Like they're throwing out sweep predictions for Onyx. I mean, they did go 2-0. So imagine if what we see here is this game 4 wins and then Twisted Minds reverse swept.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean for the rest of our playoffs, man?
Yeah, because this, if ever Twisted Mind wins game number 4 and then wins game number 5, they snap 2 streaks. The win streak in series that Onyx Philippines ended season 15 with, which was at 10, and the championship streak that they've had. Ever since MPL Philippines season 14, every tournament that they've been part of, they've been champions.
What is this pose, by the way? Why is everybody doing it?
I don't know.
Why are we like putting our hand there and sticking our tongue out? Like what are the kids doing? Is that the trend thing? Hang on.
I don't know what the Lord's doing with XR.
He's got the drum. Okay. There's the voice.
Oh, there's the voice. Hey.
This is just the default reaction for Burrito now. Like I feel like.
Actually, yeah.
You know, like
whenever the camera. Let's go in back to the game.
That's my default reaction when I see our boy bring us back to the land of Dawn. Here we go. Lord's already half health, and it's Onyx.
Onyx.
They're taking it.
Control of the Lord pit now as King Kong jumps in. They're working on Escalera. A lot of combo committed, but he's still alive. MPT King is in the picture as well. It's going to be Retribution battle! And King Kong will secure the Lord.
Don't tell me it ends this way with one red tree, not even a kill trade. King Kong, the red tree to potentially put an end to Twisted Minds' hopes.
Like, I'm so surprised because we got in, but they had complete control.
No, that means Onyx were just able to clear up the waves. We already saw Twisted Minds backing off. The last time we saw that tower, it was exactly at that moment. Still very close to going down, but not down just yet. So logically, that means Twisted Minds backed off, played for Lord positioning, and it just turned into a dance, leading to Onyx Philippines getting better positioning. How, unfortunately, we can only assume how they got into better position. But it led to this. Twisted Minds had a very good shot at that, but King just straight up lost the red tree battle against King Kong.
Fun out there on the defense. Again, Onyx Philippines lost the 2 base turrets earlier on. And with this beefed up Lord at the 24.5-minute mark in this game 4, they're looking to punch into the base. Last base turrets, 2 in base Twisted Minds in the mid and top. Waves are pushing in. They want to put the pressure. A couple immortalities here are available, but they're going to have to deal with the Lord here.
Super Friends already casted the ultimate. Brusco has his flicker. James got stuck. Immortality will be popped. JC dropped down to RWM as King Kong works on the top lane. Lord still up. Twisted Minds trying to defend as much as possible. King Kong jumps in once again, forced out the Winter Crown onto Ajizi.
Discipline not over yet. Onyx Philippines, though, might be able to continue the siege with focusing on the tower in the mid lane. No more real-world manipulation for Hajizi.
Oh, watch Brusco.
Watch the Bruiser again. They're not going to overcommit, though. As Twisted Minds clears out the minions.
And they hold on. Twisted Minds will not lose that mid turret. And so both teams holding on to the mid base turrets. A little bit healthier here on this side for Twisted Minds, but ultimately Onyx Philippines was able to make a play based off that Lord. They didn't want to risk too much, though. You saw how they went according to that fight.
Yeah.
Because they have to respect the damage that Twisted Minds has. Not only that, but even just how tanky they seem to be in dealing with that front-loaded damage that Onyx Philippines is throwing at them.
Yeah, it seems outplayed should be at around, I'm guessing maybe 40 stacks on the Sky Piercer already, which means maybe that's why Onyx Philippines is also being very careful. They know that they can just get cleaned up by the Granger, that so far that they cannot reach right now. Twisted Minds is playing a very tight formation. Despite all the damage Onyx Philippines can throw out, we are at the point of the game where Twisted Minds can hold on. But it doesn't look good for Twisted, as the pressure up top from the minion waves means that they're sacrificing a lot just to make sure that they can get this Lord. MP the King will be the one to clear it up, and Onyx seems like they'll get another one without a problem.
Concealed from Escalera. They're gonna find Kirk, forced out the ultimate. Arteezy once again with the RWM, but King Kong will secure the Lord. Brusco Immortality will be popped. Forced out the Flicker plus the Conceal. No casualties for the Sonics.
And they're able to get out, but still holding it down for the purple buff. Oh!
Jay Flickers in. Oh, and brings down Super Prince.
They're forcing it.
MP the King onto the back.
Oh,
they caught King Kong. Immortality pop. Keller trying to help him, but King Kong got eliminated. That's 2 members down for Onyx.
Okay, will Twisted Minds even try to stop the Lord? I think they really need to. They don't have enough minion waves in the mid to try and end it. They're gonna get the tower though, unless, will they brute force it down mid?
They can, because there's minions into the middle lane. Escalera is there as well. A lot of flickers. MP the King goes from the back. Brusco might be in trouble here as Arteezy brings him down. Twisted Minds extends the series.
We're going to a game 5.
You thought it was a story, clear as day, but a plot twist might be on its way. Game 5, Twisted takes Onyx to game number 5.
Woo! Man, oh man. I'm not sure if everybody else is as surprised as we are, but I know Brigida and Rockhard are as well. We're gonna have to take a breather over here on the caster desk. Let's throw it over to the panel.
Good line, good.
Bit of a shake here in our hands.
Is this face enough to show how surprised we are?
That was a little too much. That's...
Oh, okay.
That was not in my bingo cards today. That's for sure.
I wasn't necessarily expecting a sweep, but I wasn't necessarily expecting a game number 5 either, because this is one of those series, at least in the play-ins, where I feel like a lot of people, even us in the English broadcast, unanimously have predicted for Onyx Philippines, the defending champions. But look at Twisted Minds just making things happen.
They're throwing all of our expectations out the window.
Oh.
My goodness, even with multiple attempts from Onyx Philippines to just get control back, multiple Lords taken at the very end of that fight, it was still Twisted Minds coming out on top, outplayed with MVP on that Granger.
Man, and we were so close to breaking records yet again. You know, I felt like for every single game that goes by in the series, we just keep getting longer and longer game times. But Twisted Minds, they didn't let us reach that point anymore, and it was just everything falling into place, because during that last objective fight, it wasn't them who got their hands on the Lord. They lost the Red 3 battle for the 2nd consecutive time, but their decision to just keep going for the fights, knowing fully well that they are able to take out several members from Onyx Philippines, it just allowed them to, again, as mentioned by our casters, just brute force their way towards the base with that single minion wave they had marching in the middle lane.
It almost feels like Twisted Minds are like running on pure grit, pure heart at this point. Just pushing back every single attempt of Onyx Philippines to macro their way into victory.
Yeah, because like, especially for the first few minutes of the game, Onyx Philippines, they weren't necessarily set on contesting against Twisted Minds. It felt like they were just set on taking the objectives, and which led me to even wonder about, how can we see the rotational speed of the backstra of this lineup of Twisted Minds be fully capitalized if Onyx Philippines aren't necessarily in places where you expect them to be, because they're almost always somewhere else trying to take down either a turret, which is greatly beneficial for them, by the way, and worked wonders for them too. But when it all came down to Twisted Minds or Onyx Philippines having to fight back against Twisted Minds, that's where we saw the lineup, that's where we saw the team fight prowess actually take effect. This is so threatening if you're Onyx Philippines, because you're seeing the DNA, the ube kind of like playstyle come into play for Twisted Minds.
It's like you can see their spirit coming out of their bodies and going into the game, forcing their way through sheer will into a game number 5.
My goodness. Twisted Minds, definitely, they are having that momentum right now. They know that they brought Onyx Philippines all the way. And it's Onyx Philippines right now who we actually might need to see undergo that reset, which we were just talking about a few games ago in the case of Twisted Minds. So this is a really surprising turnaround. It's a 27-minute game once again, and it was very close, by the way. And for the second time around in the series, I have to commend Escalera once again. Be it the Guinevere, be it the backshot, any unconventional roamer, he's just making it work.
And honestly, it feels like, obviously, it's a big trust from Bon Chan himself to be able to, you know what, Escalera, this is the time. This is the time. We need to bring this out now because we are on the brink of losing. We're on the brink of elimination from Season 15. And you know what? That trust really paid off well because they also comboed it with a very niche hero at this moment, which is the Eve, controlling that mid lane.
I wonder what suddenly switched in Twisted Minds after them being put in a spot where they're suddenly in a do or die, where they're just one game away from saying goodbye to this season, using and pulling off the unusual quote-unquote picks and then constantly winning at it. Right? Like, one chance suddenly after them being in, or after Onyx Philippines getting match point, he's just, okay, let's try all these things now.
Yeah, and again, that's probably one of the reasons why, you know, we saw him smiling earlier after that 2-1, after they got that one. It feels like they could control, or he could kind of just foresee how his team was going to perform in game number 4, where it felt like there was a lot of pullback as well, and they're able to like kind of read Onyx movements in the jungle. King Kong did not have an easy time in the jungle this time.
If any, the other half of the KK connection though, which is Kelra, as we see right now as the BPI rich guy, he was that one player from Onyx Philippines, I feel, who always forced a reaction out of Twisted Minds. Like, he was constantly there with the pressure on the waves, and that, if I were in Twisted Minds' shoes, I definitely would have panicked multiple times by now. And I think we saw it too, based on how they just were trying to respond from everything that was happening. There were not just one, not just 2 times wherein Kelra actually decided to go for a split push attempt. There were multiple times where he actually tried to do that. And now I feel like we should also be taking a look at the overall goal, the difference timeline, which took place between these 2 teams. And compared to that one game we saw earlier, this is a way closer goal difference timeline. You could see how there were barely moments where a team, either Twisted Minds or Onyx Philippines, held the lead for more than 5 minutes because it was a constant up and down. It was in a constant back and forth. Literally what we would consider as a seesaw battle, if some would even say. And this is, if you would look at the 7-minute mark, that was the first time we felt a significant difference. That was when Onyx forced a team fight up against Twisted Minds, and they were able to go straight towards the mid lane, taking down the necessary turrets away from the mines. But then, come to the 14-minute Lord, we see another switch, which significantly favored Twisted Minds, and then it just happened over and over again, even all the way to the 22-minute mark. There were so many split push attempts, and I feel like those are the things, or one of the many things which really balance things out for Onyx Philippines, because you cannot deny the fact that Twisted Minds were really playing out of their minds, like constantly winning the team fights, constantly winning the aggressive plays, and finding a way to deal even with the presence of a Valir even, which was a major highlight too, by the way, while we were discussing the draft earlier. But it just felt like they were able to find the right footing. They were just able to really avoid all those sudden denials that could have came in from Super Friends. And I feel like Super Prince too has had his fair share of instances where he just gets found out here by Onyx or by Twisted Minds, or just he gets spotted out and just gets eliminated away by Twisted Minds. And that too is probably one of the biggest factors that I feel applies to both teams, because even Haji, he didn't have the exact same I'd say experience as when he was playing the Farsa in the previous game. He had a much harder time trying to pull off the Eve in this particular game because there were so many members of Onyx Philippines constantly trying to hunt him down. And that was another crucial thing which really allowed for Onyx Philippines to take advantage of the situation whenever they were able to ensure that Haji wasn't able to land his real-world manipulation perfectly, or whenever they were able to ensure that he will not be in the perfect position to engage in whatever team fight may happen. And now let's take a look at a quick meta check or some sort of recap of what happened earlier in our game number 4, because we are indeed going into a game number 5. I still probably cannot fully believe it to this point, but these are some of the highlight picks we would consider from that particular game. That sudden appearance of the backshot, which is the first time we're seeing it used this season, and that's of course gonna be Twisted Minds introducing it to us, being the one team who really often shows us all the unexpected picks. But we have to also take note of the amount of damage we're seeing from the Valier in contrast to that of the Eve. So it kind of reflects here that Haji has indeed had a difficult time, because it was Super Prince who was able to, although the kits are indeed different, freely dish out a lot more damage up against Twisted Minds. And this guy we're seeing right here, I feel like is another major highlight. We've been constantly talking about it time and time again, but Kelra, definitely, that 78% turret damage has left a major impact in how the game has actually turned out to be this way. And this is, like, on average, what you really expect of Kelra when he's using the Moskov in the gold lane. This is just Kelra literally trying to do Kelra things on the Moskov. And mind you, I feel like in this particular scenario, we've seen a lot of KK connection plays.
Yep.
But it was more of a Kelra game, I guess.
That's true. And if we're talking about like what happened to Kelra in this game, and I think I will reel it back into that Baksha, because Baksha's passive really, the Moskov is like super high, like really fast attacks. Each one of those attacks are significantly reduced against a Baksha. That's the reason why the Twisted lineup can actually stay into the fight a lot longer than most teams would. If that was not a Baksha, if that was maybe a Khalid or maybe a Hylos, that would have been shredded like seconds ago.
I mean,
but that small amount of HP really reels it back in and allows Twisted to actually escape as a 5-man unit.
Yeah, because if it were any other roamer, even the Guinevere, like just miss that spatial migration, it's over. Like Kelra would just immediately reposition himself and throw out those spears again and again, and you will not be able to fully engage or commit in a fight, not until you have that spatial migration ready or up again. And that is that timing that Onyx Philippines will likely take advantage of. And that didn't happen at all in this scenario because, again, it was a Baksha, so it could just constantly stand there and tank all the damage
and roll around
and throw out those mini plates. but either way, this was a really commendable performance from Twisted Minds.
Absolutely.
Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, they just keep improving and adjusting on the fly.
Yeah, these adjustments are really good. The Baksha itself wasn't like a super big surprise, because if we go back to the draft for game number 1 and game number 2, it was actually banned out.
Yeah.
So it's not like something that's impossible to handle, but you know what? They were able to deal with it. They were able to use it. We might see it later on again. But fun fact, Mpl Ph Playoffs history, only 10 out of 128 matches won our reverse sweep. So less than 1 in 10 games.
That's only 8%.
Yes.
And Twisted Minds, they're so close to being the 11th match
possibly number
Oh
11.
my! And I think that's another thing we need to like lay down for everyone right now. It's the reality that there is a chance that a few moments from now, we aren't seeing the former champions as part of the top 4 of the season anymore.
That's right. And we're talking about top 6. That is Twisted Minds for us. These are the standard average kills of all the top 6 seeds on the region. Fabian, very close by as well. CK and Cayman and Isaac.
Yep. This is another, I'd say, example of there's so much that can happen in a short amount of time. Because even just recently, like December last year, everyone was looking up to TLID, like that sudden boost or growth that they've experienced, that timeline, which is very unusual to see from a team who just gets introduced to the professional scene, who just gets to be given a chance to play in the professional league. That's something Team Liquid Indonesia was able to show us all.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing them in 6th seed, barely making it into their own playoffs. So literally anything can happen in a short amount of time, and there are just so many teams already stepping up.
That was a big skyrocket, obviously, from Team Liquid Indonesia. But like we had Dilar here earlier, and he was. I think when you ask like who's a really good guy that you learned from, Dilar kind of still mentioned Fabian. So I think he's still doing something very, very good there, despite their placement right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Fabian, he's gained a lot of like Filipino fans.
I thought, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Just by his personality, just by how Sigma he is, similar to the Sigma we have.
The actual Sigma of the Philippines.
The actual Sigma.
Yeah, King Kong right there. And by the way, speaking of Onyx, look at that. They took a really big hit on their red side win rate because of that.
My.
From 82 something to 77.78%.
Unbelievable.
And they are going to be going red side this time still for 5 games in a row, I think.
Yeah. It's been a trend right now for both of these teams. They've been sticking with their sides, and it's crazy. Just in a single series, that's how much you could affect the numbers of Onyx Philippines in terms of their red side win rate. So Twisted Minds, they're definitely doing something in this series, and they are literally 1 win away from making a huge statement in the history of Mpl Philippines Season 15.
This might be the scariest comeback we'll ever see. We are going into game number 5, joined by Renmar from the caster's desk.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Really same reaction.
Setting the bar with a Baksha rush pick.
I mean, again, Onyx was the team who picked red side here.
And I think the difference now is that we can't say for sure like where the Baksha is going at this point. Because earlier it was revealed alongside the jungler and the EXP lane already, but now it's different. Like, it can go anywhere for now. But given Escalera's performance earlier, there might just be a high chance that this might be another Baksha roll.
Let's see. Okay, they go for the Juice and Granger. They get poked, they control. What if they put the Baksha elsewhere? There was a joke that I posted earlier.
What is that?
To the gentleman here at the casting table. Like, what if this goes to game number 5 and Coach Bonchan says, let's just run it back. Let's just go back to Estes, you know?
Wait, now that you mention it, what if, right?
Jungle Baksha with a Roam Estes? I mean, I would love to see that.
And at most, like, the burst damage we're seeing from Onyx Philippines, at most right now, it's just, like, the Granger every now and then, but okay, they are probably not.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be it. It's a Jungle Ling.
Hey, if it's going to make an appearance, maybe it's on number 5. I don't know. We're not done yet.
Let's see. All right. So they needed to put this Baksha in the roam, because if they are going to go Ling, you're going to need that solid front, that solid hold. Because with every lineup that has a Ling, specifically Ling, there's always that risk of you're either going to lose one of your buffs in the first rotation, or you're going to die at your second rotation.
Yeah.
So as long as Twisted Minds can avoid that, they should be on the roll. That's the main condition here for, let's look at Onyx Philippines. If they can disrupt the Ling enough that they steal a buff for the first rotation or deliver death onto Ling, by
There
the
you
second
go.
buff rotation, and that's why they picked up the Hilda.
Yeah, and what better way to actually disrupt that pattern from the Ling if not picking up the Hilda, which again was one of the more effective picks for Onyx Philippines too, especially when we talk about Kirk, who right now is in front of us and looking very, very serious alongside the team as they draft. But then, yeah, now it's Onyx Philippines who might be the one to run out of options if ever they do want to consider which jungler they are going to pick up later on, because right now the Joy isn't available anymore. There's still the Hayabusa, but other options might just be banned here by Twisted Minds.
Actually, I really love that you also brought up that there is a really big possibility that this lane will lose out on the purple, especially against a team that really loves to invade in the first place. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen very early on. And they do have the tools to do it.
Yeah.
I think Twisted Minds really need to commit a Hayabusa ban, though.
Yeah.
That's why I like that Onyx, the Twisted Minds also took out the Cho, so you're taking away the best invading
Malaglag
roamers.
kaya
You can still put
Onyx.
high loss on the side of Onyx. It's going to be slower in the rotate, but your threat of being able to invade will still be there, especially if it's going to be paired up with something like a Suyo. Now the Eve pick turns off a tanky jungler option for Onyx Philippines. They will be forced to pick up an assassin. If Twisted Minds bans the Hayabusa, most likely it's just going to be a Suyo for King Kong.
Okay. And the Suyo right now hasn't been much of a go-to option.
I'm sorry, there's still one more option that Onyx can go for, and that's something that's been overlooked so far this series, I believe. It hasn't even been banned. It's the Lucas.
Oh yeah. Now that you mention it,
We haven't actually seen the Lucas a lot today.
And we did talk about it with Dilar earlier too, right? Like the Lucas just appears more often in the jungle, barely in the EXP anymore.
Wow.
But could they be really considering that? I recall a moment, a week in the regular season where Why Not was joking about how they weren't confident with King Kong on the Lucas just yet.
Yeah.
That's true.
Twisted Minds decided to play very defensively. They took out two roamers that can apply so much pressure to the lane. So what we were saying earlier, Twisted Minds is also thinking about that. So now the board is open here for a Hayabusa pickup later on.
Hayabusa's still there, so they can not overthink it and save whoever they want to put in the role for Brusco later on, since this is likely going to be an EXP Hilda anyway. There are a lot of options too if it's just that. But that's going to be...
Whoa.
Oh,
Wow! Is this for real? Is this actually happening? Oh my god!
And I think I heard Naisu.
I did.
Did I?
I think you did.
This is a Lancelot. How long has it been since we last saw a Lancelot? We definitely will be pulling up the stats later on, but...
It's the debut pick this season. Will the Thorned Rose be enough to save Onyx Philippines this season?
I think the last time I saw King Kong play a Lancelot, which might have been in TNC days. I'll double check that later. But it feels like such a long time ago. I don't know if Twisted Minds planned for this. Airfield coming out though.
And it's a Tigreal. It's a Baksha EXP lane.
Oh my god!
What a shift up by Twisted Minds.
This is crazy.
Okay, that means they also still have an option from the EXP lane that can disrupt the Lancelot's rotation. What a switch up, and that Tigreal pick could be massive.
Yeah. I feel like crowd control should be an option for Onyx Philippines at this point. Might they want to have some sort of catch? I mean, the Hilda is there, but like, there's just, compared to Twisted Minds, they have multiple ways to set things up.
There's a Khalid.
It's a Khalid, okay, they want to play it fast. Fast rotation, a lot of activity outside of the EXP lane for Kirk. It's up to Khalid and Hilda, to Brusco and Kirk to set the tempo here.
Of all the lineups that Onyx will use to hold on to the season, this is not what I was expecting.
And I was expecting the surprises from Twisted Minds. But Onyx Philippines came into play in day number 1 saying that we too have a bunch of surprises to show you guys.
That's right. And here in the Champions Arena, we are back into a game number 5 situation. And MP the King on Ling. We're gonna see some sword fights in the jungle for sure. Let's load it up into this game. Game number 5, Twisted Minds versus Onyx Philippines.
It all comes down to one. Our defending champions from season 14, our defending world champions, their lives are at stake here. Has their minds been twisted too much? We're gonna find out which team succeeds and goes on in the playoffs. It's all happening now as we jump into the land of Dawn. Twisted Minds versus Onyx Philippines. Once again, it's me, Nai Suingan and Renmar. And boys, I don't know what to think about this. Is this Lancelot in the hands of King Kong gonna be enough to change some things here?
I mean, a debut game, backs against the wall, pressure game for the defending champions. They put off a Lancelot. If ever they manage to, you know, force a snowball from King Kong, it could be enough to beat Twisted Minds.
I'm looking more right now at Brusco. I mentioned Brusco and Kirk. I'm also looking at Brusco and Super Friends. Of course, we've discussed it many times this season. The signature play for these two on the Khalid and the Juicin is to get a kill within the first 2 minutes. They weren't able to get a kill right away. That's something that I believe in the scouting report of Twisted Minds they acknowledged.
Yep.
Because we saw it before so many times that they'll be able to get a kill just with the first minion wave push alone. They weren't able to take that, but now they still apply the pressure onto the rotation of MP the King.
Okay. So early action here on the bottom side. And this is kind of interesting too because, yeah, the Boxer was picked up early on in the draft. It goes into the hands of James this time. And Escalera, man, he's had a hell of a series, especially the previous 2 games. If Escalera stays locked in, which he's been the past 2 games from the Guinevere, then to the Boxer, and now on this Tigreal, which we have seen Tigreals change the course of games. That could be really troublesome. James quite low here. Kirk.
Oh, now Brusco jumps in the picture. This time Thornrose is going to connect. There's the Sacred Hammer. First blood drawn onto James. Plus the kill onto Escalera as well. Kirk quite low here, but MP the King jumps in. Was able to escape as Brusco focuses his attention on Hajizi.
They overestimated that attempt there. King Kong was way too close for them to take that fight, but I believe they weren't able to see him then. They were shocked. And now it's the first turtle going to Onyx Philippines. They're ticking their conditions, while Twisted Minds, their potential snowball, already getting melted down quickly by Onyx Philippines.
Okay, so objective secured. A little poking happening here for the Roams, but that's the thing, you know, we've seen Outplayed step up too. I feel like we just haven't talked too much about Outplayed throughout the series, but he has done relatively well. You know, he's either winning lane against Kelra, and you gotta remember, Kelra, what he's done in the past year and everything that's come with it and being the world champions and everything else, you know, calling him the god in the gold lane, while Outplayed's doing relatively well in that lane, in that matchup, and later on in the game, he is there in those crucial fights, those crucial skirmishes. So that's a big thing. We don't see Irithyll often, but with this kind of composition, it could actually be really good. I mean, think about the, hold on. Whoa.
More Rhapsody though. Brusco here, he has a flicker, plus Raging Sandstorm. He's not gonna commit though.
Oh, Super Prince. And they still push this. Wow, they got a flicker out. Okay, so they use the Raging Sandstorm, but yeah, again, oh no.
King Kong's down, King Kong's down.
And now next target might be Kirk here. Getting ganked up by 3. Brusco doesn't have resources. Kirk might fall down. As James picks up one more. Brusco might be the next target. Forced out the flicker and escapes.
Live and die on the hill of Hajizi. The Eve yet again. Great real-world manipulation there at the tip of it, able to catch King Kong to secure the kill onto there. So that balances out the difficulty that Onyx Philippines was providing for the early game rotation of MP the King. Now, let's look at the all-time hero stats. King Kong made a name for himself back in Mpl Philippines Season 11 with this hero. It was his heroics as a Lancelot, Season 12, that made then Onyx Philippines go, you know what? We want to get him in for Season 13.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was thinking with Onyx Philippines, the way that they were playing earlier on, up top in that top lane, and then it would have that advantage. But I still got to say, Twisted Minds really answering a lot of the pressure that Onyx has done throughout the series, and are able to find something out of it. Now that this turtle's up, not sure if they're going to get in position because MP's got to grab his buff, so they just take quick work of it. King Kong will secure that second turtle, but will they force a fight?
MP the King tried They now forced out the Tempest of Blades here.
Whoa.
Onyx Philippines trying to work on him, and Super Friends will pick up the kill. So they get a turtle plus a kill onto MP.
That had to be a misstep.
Yeah, it looked like a massive misstep there. MP the King fell off the wall, tried to get that turtle, steal it away. Way too greedy, way too risky. And now Onyx Philippines have ballooned to a 2.2 gold lead. 5 minutes in, it's starting to look very bad for Twisted Minds, and Onyx Philippines might just run away with this. The Khalid pickup might have been the perfect one because, yes, as we mentioned earlier, Brusco and Kirk have to set the tempo, and they have been doing just that. James going to the back.
James from the back sets his eyes on Kellera. Kirk with a beautiful zone onto Outplayed. Brusco jumps in as well. Super Friends comes in with the Crimson Beacon Lantern Flare. There's the Revitalize from James. But getting chased down by 4. Onyx Philippines working on bringing down James. A couple more hits and he's going to fall down in hands of Prince.
Twisted Minds are losing their discipline. Too desperate was their attempt to try and take Keller down, to try and get something there. 4.3k gold lead. The gold lead has doubled since the last time we checked it. And as we look at the items, Irithel not suffering as much. Mid lane not that much as well, but it's in the EXP lane. It's in the Baksha versus Hilda.
It's crazy that in the past couple minutes you ballooned to a 5,000 gold lead. I mean, they're getting everything now, and they're not letting up.
Yeah, now the invades are starting. Escalera forced to use the ultimate, but a response from Onyx, though. Hajizi again picks up another kill onto Kirk. King Kong caught in the middle. James trying to soak up the damage as MP the King walks away. Conceal use to be able to retreat.
All right, so they burn a couple flickers and battle spells, too. They're going to pop a conceal. They're going to go for the buff here, so MP's going to lose that one. This is not looking good here for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, Twisted Minds have made some incredibly desperate decisions. Again, going back to turtle number 2, MP the King trying to steal it away, and then the gank of James and the answer of Twisted Minds to try and get Kelra down, only to force a Purify out, and he got away without a problem. They have to slow things down, Twisted Minds, if they want even a chance to keep this close. But this point on, this big a lead, this is signature Onyx Philippines. Punish mistakes, punish greed, and make sure that you walk away with a victory early on.
Oh, it's good. Escalera with a Sacred Hammer forced out Brusco's Raging Sandstorm. Right on time with the neutral objective up grab, so Twisted Minds, they can contest and play around the real world manipulation.
That's the thing though too, man. King Kong, 3 levels ahead of MP. There's no way that MP can really even contest the objectives for now. He's got to play catch up until the Lord comes into play, and I'm even worried for him for the first Lord. Now that's 3 for 3 for Turtles. So far so good for King Kong in the jungle. And they're in a great position for that Lord take. Look at all the gold in the hands of Onyx Philippines. And that's why you see them fighting on this side of the jungle. They're not afraid to go ahead and take whatever they want right now. So it's Twisted Minds thinking, how do we catch back up into this game? How do we allow ourselves to get in a position to not get totally slammed in this game 5? Because you're looking at a 6K deficit this early on. You know, 8 minutes in the game, that's really tough to be in.
Yeah. It has to start again with Escalera, just like Game 3, the Guinevere setups. If he replicates it with the Stigriel, a couple more sets can equalize again, the game and eventually come back from this huge deficit established by Onyx.
6,600 and climbing. MP the King can only split push to try and break turrets. Twisted Minds have completely lost their chance at the early game to dominate and take hold. They now have to pull off the defense of a lifetime multiple times to try and keep this game close.
And that's one of the problems. Multiple times is just kind of showcasing how much ground they have to cover. And honestly, throughout the whole series, they haven't been in this position this far behind. Right? I mean, every single game has been somewhat of a close back and forth until that first Lord even. But now they find themselves in a position where, yeah, if you try to contest this Lord in 20 seconds, you're probably just going to be gone, and that's going to be the series. So they really have to be calculated about this. King Kong already max level, sitting at 15, while look at MP, still 10. So they can take everything they want. They'll take their time, though. Onyx Philippines not going to push it or press it. Now, with Escalera on the Tigreal, wow,
level 5.
Outplayed felt that. Oh, no!
We're going to commit the Raging Sandstorm, and Kelra picks up Outplayed with the Death Sonata. Out of the 5 members of Twisted Minds, they pick out Outplayed.
5-level lead for King Kong over MP. Make that 4 now. but it is an insane snowball. MP desperate.
Jumps in, Tempest to plate might be able to bring down Kelra, and he will do so successfully. That's a huge kill for MP the King, but gets traded out for his own life.
So is that, like, I know he wanted Kelra, but
that's something.
I guess it's also just because you know you can't really contest the first Lord, but then you lose your buff and everything else. So, yeah, I guess you just go and get what you can?
Yeah, that's something. That wasn't a massive shutdown. Kelra only had 1 kill when that happened. So at this point, that was just Twisted Minds trying to get something out of nothing. They can't contest. They have to wait, try and defend. As Onyx Philippines, again, we've seen them do this time and time again since MPL Philippines Season 14, since the start of their rise. And they can just continue. They just have to stay disciplined, stay focused. They have the lineup, they've had the lead, they have the items. Honestly, they can actually end it with the next Lord push if they get the opportunity.
They might just get that, man. This kind of lead, I mean, even thinking about how Outplayed's not really even something that Onyx has to worry about too much. Like, he's so far behind in terms of Kelra, or in comparison to Kelra. And if he's caught out, that's the problem. You mentioned the Khalid. I think that is part of the big thing here. And Brusco had a tough couple games. But now in this Khalid, oh no, James.
James, again, forced out to use their Revitalize with 1 Rhapsody and Lantern Flare. Hajizi already uses the real-world manipulation to try and delay the push of Onyx Philippines as everyone's working on the turrets. Look at King Kong. Thorn Rose was able to dodge out the Templates of Blades as Twisted Minds defends all their inhibitors and takes down the Lord.
It was a crazy dance King Kong did there. I mean, I know he has like a massive gold lead over them, but he took like what, just a scrape of damage from dancing under the tower against 2?
Yeah, and he's taking all these buffs. Mid turret goes down in the base of Twisted Minds.
Conceal.
Bottom turret gonna be next. I'm not sure if Onyx still pushes it. They're gonna go.
Thorn throws and puncture everything just to bring down Hajizi and Escalera. King Kong from the back. Match outplayed, and that is it. MP the King left to defend, and the defending champions defends their playoff spot.
And the Super Fam makes it happen in game of 5. What a quick one it was.
Oftentimes, the price of immortality is your own legacy. Onyx Philippines are not ready just yet to pay that price.